Jesus says that what's in the darkness will come to the light. Like things will be exposed. And anytime that happens, that's God's discipline. As soon as it comes out, whether it's like good or bad, it really does make people look at themselves.
Well, you have all the non-believers that are now suddenly in charge of distributing and holding things that are for believers. It's super, like, it'd
Right.
be like just putting a random guy and be like, I guess you're one of the pastors here, and he's like, well, I don't believe in God, but like I'm pretty good at bookwork. And you're like, yeah, but I don't think you're supposed to be doing this.
Okay, everybody, welcome to the I'm Clifford Today show. Welcome. I'm Clifford Today, and you're not. And today we have a very special episode for you. You'll notice that it's just me right now, but very soon it's going to not be just me, because today I'm joined by two very special people. This was something that I've been wanting to do for a while, since I met them in person earlier this year. But I've got a couple very special guests. We have Mr. Jonathan Allen Wright, who has been on the show before, as well as Eric Tuffensuch. That's what I call him, but I guess it's Tuffendsam. I never actually have confirmed. But yeah, Eric from Sower, who has also been on the show. And I have him on the show for a very special reason, because there was something, there's just a lot of things that I wanted to talk about with them, and I wanted to get their input. And as you can see by the title of this episode, it's going to cover a lot of things that we talk about on the show. We're going to be just talking about just the overall state of CCM, because there's been a lot that's happened just in this past year. And so I just kind of wanted to talk with them about these things that we've been seeing, and just kind of get their insight. And honestly, this is one of my favorite episodes I've ever done. It was so good having them both on. I'm so glad that, they've become pretty good friends of mine. And yeah, really excited. So this episode is going to be a bit different. I will admit that I don't have there's not going to be a my humble opinion, because while I have been listening to stuff, I've been very busy, and I just didn't I dropped the ball, and I just wasn't able to write out any of my thoughts on my humble opinion. Perhaps I will in the next episode, because there are a couple albums that I really enjoyed. So if we're not going to get in my humble opinion, I will at least recommend a couple albums to you that I've been really enjoying, and that would be Tyson Matzenbacher's new album. I was going to say Minor Love, but that's the EP. Tyson Matzenbacher's Modern Worries, as well as Fepeste's This World Ain't Mine to Change. I've really been enjoying both of those albums, and so if I can, I will try to talk about them in another episode. But just for now, just know that they're good. I just don't have any clear thoughts about them just now, and you kind of need that to be a music critic. So I didn't want to just ramble. I wanted some complete thoughts on that. But yeah, otherwise, we will get to the main portion of the episode, but just wanted to do some housekeeping from the last episode. Which, speaking of favorite episodes, last episode was also definitely up there. I had my good friend Stephen Goetz on, and he was stepped in last minute as a guest co-host, and we just had a grand old time, and really loved the insight that he shared. And so got a few comments from the last episode, so we're going to be going through those. First of all, we've got a comment from Eric Martinez, and Eric asks, any updates on John James documentary that you were planning? Well, it's good to hear from you again, Eric. Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, I've been talking about this for a long time. Even before I had John James, formerly from the Newsboys, on the show, I'd been planning to do a documentary about John James' testimony for a long time, and I was working on it. There was a lot that I had edited. I made some good headway, and then the computer that I was working on it crashed. I made I even had to. For those of you who are new to the channel, that was a whole thing because I had to put the show on hold, and like the whole channel was basically on hiatus for a while, because I just didn't have any money to either get a new job or to retrieve the hard drive that had all that work on there. Not even just that documentary, But yeah, since then I have I've gotten 2 new computers actually. I got a laptop and I got this PC setup that I've been using that's been going really well. But I still haven't I still haven't gotten that hard drive fixed because it's just a lot of money. So I thought that I would wait until I got that back and I would get back to working on that documentary along with all the other things that I was. But now I'm kind of just feeling like, especially right now, I just can't really afford it. So right now because I really want to get to that documentary, and I think I'm just going to go ahead and just start from scratch. And I've been meaning to do that. And so I'm going to be getting back to that at some point, hopefully soon. I was working on a video about Fine Arts Festival. I'm not going to really explain that now, but if you know, you know. But yeah, I'm going to be getting to it soon. A lot of it is also just kind of timing for me, which just a little heads up for you guys. Later this week, I'm not sure exactly when, I'm going to be uploading a video because I didn't want to just talk about it on the show for fear of it being buried, but I have a important announcement involving the channel. And so I'm going to be uploading a separate video at some point this week. So you won't want to miss that. And that's going to be regarding a lot of things on this channel concerning like content and everything. So, and all good news, all good things, you know. So, but just while we were on the topic, I just wanted to bring that up, especially at the beginning of the episode. I thought that would be good. All right. Well, thanks, Eric, for the comment. I'm glad there are those of you who are still interested in the things I do and are keeping tabs on me. I really appreciate it. We've got another comment from Griff. I believe it is a buddy of mine, and Griffin says, "We're all Clifford," and I believe that's like two references at once. First is that, you know, the whole like I'm Clifford today and you're not, but also I'm pretty sure he's hearkening back to the old band that we used to be in called We're All Lucas. So that's a very nice callback. And if you guys are interested in the little young Clifford and what I was up to, search We're All Lucas, Long Live the King. That's a blast from the past for me. That was like the only recorded song that we ever did, and it's interesting. So So yes, thanks Griff for that blast from the past. Our very own Nick Gundy also commented and said, "Welcome, Steven." Very sad we couldn't have Nick on the show. He had stuff going on, but Steven commented and said, "Thanks, dude. It was rad doing this." So yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Steven, for coming on the show. So definitely we'll have you on again. And then we got another comment from Mr. Isaac Holsworth. He left a timestamp with the so I have to describe this like a boomer. It's the monkey emoji with the hands over their mouths and like emoji with the finger up. And the timestamp is, I believe it's, oh yeah, I think I remember what it is. It's oh yeah, Stephen was accusing Brandon Lake of stealing his idea for Hard Fought Hallelujah. Apparently Stephen had that idea first. So you heard it here first, guys. Stephen is going to be suing Brandon Lake for plagiarism. So, but yes, good to hear from you again, Isaac. So, last comment, but definitely not least, because this is by far the longest of the episode, from Mark Edward Murphy. Mark, I'm going to address part of your comment because we actually, in my conversation with Jonathan and Eric, we addressed part of your comment in our conversation. And I just want to say, because I think we're having a little bit of fun with it, we weren't making fun of you, maybe disagreeing slightly, but we were mostly just having fun. So don't take it personally. I really do appreciate your comment, but I'm just going to go ahead and read it. Mark says, "I'm over halfway through, and this is the only episode of your show I've ever been banging my head against the wall listening to." Which, as a preface, none of these remarks are meant to be personal barbs, and I hope they don't come off that way. Totally not. And again, my response now and our response later is not meant to be that way either. Although I am surprised that this, of all episodes, is the one that makes you upset, because I don't know. I feel like I've had other episodes that I was like nervous the whole time before it coming up, because I was like, oh, this one is dicey. We'll see how people respond to this. So it's kind of funny that it's this episode that I wasn't too worried about, honestly. But so anyways, Mark continues. "First off, CCM Twitter, I miss it very much. I go back in March to do the tournament and do appreciate finding new artists that are off my radar." Yes, and we talk about it as CCM Twitter is a very fun place to be and makes Twitter, or X, don't want a dead name, it makes X bearable, that's for sure. "Second, and only briefly, anti-Trump does not equate to anti-America, no more than being anti-Biden was anti-America. One can disagree with the tenets of the president and their whole party and still love America. More could be said, but I just got that vibe." And I get, and what we talked about Bad Bunny playing the Super Bowl, and I made the comment that Bad Bunny had made some, I made the comment that he's been generally anti-American with things that he said, and just the fact that he's decided not to tour in America because of President Trump's administration and everything. So I had labeled it as anti-American. I get what you're saying, and I would probably rephrase it, but still, at the same time, the fact that he, I guess it just doesn't sit right with me that an artist would be like, no, I'm not gonna tour in your country just because you have a president that I don't like. It's like, why make a whole country suffer because you're choosing not to tour in America? So that to me kind of is borderline anti-American, but whatever. I get what you're saying, and I think I can agree with that. Mark says, third and lastly, I don't think we need a Christian halftime show. A Turning Point USA halftime show. I guess they joked that they wanted Creed, and I'm beginning to question if we need a Puppy Bowl halftime show. I'm quite sure they aren't really competing in athletic competition. I do think that the halftime show does get pretty racy, and not just by Christian standards, but I guess the answer is just to go to the kitchen and eat my award-winning chili recipe, which I think I glanced over. We kind of breezed over that part in our conversation, but man, you've actually got me interested. I had some chili last night, my roommate made, and I do love me some good chili. So man, you gotta hit me up with some of that next time. Everyone will be happy. Yeah, I think so. All that being said, God bless from a brother who now needs a Tylenol. Well, still, yeah, sorry about that. Hashtag not sorry. I mean, I'm gonna say my opinion, and you know, if people don't like it, then that's okay. But yeah, with that whole Super Bowl part, that is what we address in the conversation. So I will just leave it at that. Thank you so much, Mark, for your comment. I seriously do. I do appreciate the feedback, and I actually do like feedback, negative or positive. So it's all good, man. So thank you very much, Mark. I'm glad that we can agree to disagree on we can disagree on some things. We can have conversation about some things. That's why I kind of like the YouTube format almost better than like any other social media platform, because this is as close as like face-to-face debate as you can get. Like with like Twitter and everything, you're just being a keyboard warrior and you're not seeing anyone's facial expressions. That's why I tend to keep a lot of my hot takes. I save that for video, if that makes sense. Even though I still even I stay away from hot takes on certain issues on this YouTube channel, because I try to keep it focused. I do my best to keep this channel focused on Christian music and all that. But yeah, thanks everyone for your comments. I'm trying to think if there's anything else, but I really don't want to keep you guys from enjoying this conversation with Jonathan and Eric. I'm really excited for you guys to check it out. Please leave a comment. Let me know what you thought about the episode, what you thought about what we talked about, because we cover all the things. So I want to hear from you guys, what you guys think about things. And yeah, so without further ado, please enjoy as me, Jonathan Allen Wright, and Eric from Sower solve all the world's issues. I promise you, we solve them in this episode, so you don't want to miss the ending. All right, let's go. Everything in moderation, right? All right. Well, I guess we're starting now. I am joined by two good friends of mine that I actually met both of you guys last summer at Audio Feed, like in person for the first time, and I'm really excited to have you guys join me. I guess we'll first go with Mr. Jonathan Allen Wright. How are you doing, Mr. Jaw?
I'm great. Again, I'm happy we all met in person for real, because I feel like it's rare. Like all of us end up talking with so many random people or musicians or creators, and then it's so rare that you just end up in the same space as like more than one of them at a time. So
Right, yeah.
it was awesome. But I'm doing great.
Yeah.
I hope you're doing well.
Yeah, I am.
Oh,
I mean,
good.
both of you guys, I'd been wanting to have you guys back on because you had such great conversations. And hello to Mr. Sower, Mr. Eric Tuffendsam.
That's actually a perfect pronunciation.
I
Most
like
people don't
it.
get that.
Yeah, I thought so.
Tough
How
as
you
such
doing,
does
Eric?
is go cool.
I'm doing well. I was trying to look for this picture. I can't remember if I just sent it to Jonathan or if I sent it to both of you guys, but you know what I'm talking about.
I bet
There's
I
like
do.
this
I bet I
cat
do.
or
Did you
something.
send it
What is
on the
a
group
mouse?
chat?
The rat,
I can't
dude,
even remember
the
what it is.
rat,
A rat.
yeah.
There's like
Oh,
me with
man.
this weird blurry picture at audio feed with this rat, and Jonathan's
Oh, yeah.
just in the background.
I do remember that.
He's
I
just
think
in
I
the
was with
background.
you. I think I might have suggested, I'm like, dude, tag that as Jonathan.
Yeah, you did. Because like
we were all
met,
in the same room, but I didn't remember that photo being taken because I'm like across
well, yeah,
the room.
you were just not. You weren't even paying attention at all. You're just like accidentally photobombing it. And
Yeah.
it's just funny
It's the
because you and
best.
I, Jonathan, we only talked for just a minute, and
Yeah.
I was hoping to talk to you more, but since I sent you that photo, we've become closer
We've
friends,
talked.
and
We've
we've
done
shared demos.
That's awesome.
And we've talked, and it's been awesome getting to know both.
You're gonna
you
make
guys.
Clifford
I
jealous
love
that we've
Clifford.
texted without.
Yeah, dude, leaving me out, giving me that FOMO, man.
What can I say? It's
But
just-
hey, we have a group chat now. We're the candy corn brethren
yeah,
because
it's a great word.
we're candy corn apologists apparently.
Well,
I don't
He's got
even
a whole
remember
bowl
how it
over
came
there.
up.
I've got
Well,
a
it's
bowl.
'cause-
I thought maybe we would all have a bowl, but just me.
I don't have any candy corn.
I'm not.
so-
I feel like I'm not allowed to have candy corn. You know, I'm
Okay.
already so high strung.
Well,
Yeah,
listen,
sorry,
the real
I-
question.
I missed the memo.
I'm sorry to do this, but I do have a candy corn question. And Jonathan and I talked about this before, but
Mhm.
when you eat candy corn, do you eat like one color at a time? Like
No,
white,
I just
orange?
You
put the whole
don't?
thing in my mouth.
Whoa,
I'm an animal.
Okay.
Yeah.
savage. Yeah,
Because
I'm
it's just a little
definitely-
tiny thing.
yeah,
I'm
but
not
it's
like
the principle of it. It's dividing out. It's rationing it once again. You know,
you guys are making me think of the beginning of the Disney Jack and the Beanstalk when they're all poor and they just have the one bean and they just
yeah,
slice
they
it.
slice it with the knife. I
That's what
forgot.
I'm imagining.
I do use a
It's
knife
like
sometimes.
Oh.
it's like
And
this
then
is
he
Eric
separates
enjoying his
them.
candy corn. Like, ooh.
He separates. He's like, here's the orange of the candy corn in one sealed container. Here's the white of the candy corn in another sealed container. He's just slicing it all
It's
up.
like separating the whites from
But I got
from
the chocolate kind
the
too.
white candy corn from the dark candy corn.
Yeah,
It's like the dark and the white meat.
it's just purely principle. I definitely eat them separately, but the fact you don't is I don't know what to do with that.
Sorry, yeah, I'm a monster, I guess.
I hope
feel
this-
like a monster, as
in all
the Skillet
seriousness-
song says.
It does. But I just hope that we don't offend anybody because like maybe some people don't like candy corn.
We're
Some
gonna
listeners.
offend somebody, but
Look, I'm gonna say it. I don't care if they don't like candy corn.
There you go.
I don't. I've
I don't
given
care
up.
that you broke your arm.
I don't care that
I
you
knew
broke
what you
your
were
elbow.
referencing there.
Yeah. Thank you for catching that. I've
That's-
got to say it.
Yeah, honestly, I'm kind of used to offending people. Sometimes I offend people on this show when I'm not really expecting it. Like I won't say offended, and maybe I think it's okay to bring up because I was gonna have to read this comment eventually on the show anyways.
Oh, good. Now
Yeah.
I'm
But-
engaged more. You know?
I'm listening.
Because
I'm all
maybe
ears.
because it's relevant to what we're going to talk about, and maybe we'll just kind of jump in. So we're going to be talking about our opinions on CCM and just where it's at right now. And there's been, needless to say, 2025 has been a crazy year for CCM. You know, things kind of started with the whole Michael Tait situation, and now I feel like all the headlines lately have something to do with Forrest Frank and everything. And so I just feel like people are talking about it a lot, and it's getting in the news a lot. And the last episode of my show, we touched on a couple of those things. I had my buddy Steven on, and we talked about Forrest Frank and the Dove Awards and the halftime show and everything. And I just wanted to bring this comment up from Mark Edward Murphy, who is a friend of the channel. He's been subscribed for a while, and so he says, "I'm over halfway through, and this is the only episode of your show I've ever been banging my head against the wall listening to."
Nice. You got to get
Is
one
that a
out
good
there.
thing?
I like the honesty. Well, yeah, I don't think it's a good thing, but hey, I'm open to criticism.
What if it's music that's worth headbanging to?
Right.
You know what I mean?
I don't
Maybe
think
that's
it's
what he
that
was
kind of
saying.
headbanging.
Yeah.
Is that the
Not
whole
when it's
comment?
just found
against the wall.
He found your episode so hardcore that he started headbanging.
I don't think you're supposed to do that against the wall.
Oh,
but
yeah.
You might be
It's
right.
maybe a proximity problem.
He does that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Maybe.
know him. He does that a little bit.
I have to make sure where I'm close to.
Is that the whole comment? Sorry, we interrupted.
No, there's
Oh, yeah.
more.
Okay.
And he says, as a preface, none of these remarks are meant to be personal barbs, and I hope they don't come off that way. He says, first off, CCM Twitter, I miss it very much. I go back in March to do the tournament and do appreciate finding new artists that are off my radar, which, Jonathan, you're not really on Twitter anymore, but
Yeah.
CCM Twitter has kind of become a really big community over there. Me and Eric are on it. There's a whole community over there, thanks to Eric McClanahan at In Everglow, who's kind of put those CCM Twitter tournaments together.
Wow, that's cool.
So yeah, it's really it makes Twitter bearable over there. Not
I might have to get back on.
Needless to say, yeah.
I don't know if I'll get back on.
That's okay. I mean, you're still not missing a whole lot, but Mark also continues, second and only briefly. So this is in regarding to, I was talking about Bad Bunny, and I made the comment saying how he had made some statements that I think the words I used were anti-American. Maybe I would use a different term now, but that's what I said on the show. He said anti-Trump does not equate to anti-America, no more than being anti-Biden was anti-America. One can disagree with the tenets of the president and their whole party and still love America. More could be said, but I just got that vibe. Third and lastly, I don't think we need a Christian halftime show. A Turning Point USA halftime show. I guess they joked that they wanted Creed, and I am beginning to question if we need a Puppy Bowl halftime show. I'm quite sure they aren't really competing in athletic competition. I do think that the halftime show does get pretty racy, and not just by Christian standards, but I guess the answer is just to go to the kitchen and eat my award-winning chili recipe. Everyone will be happy. All that being said, God bless from a brother who now needs a Tylenol.
Nice. From
Which
the
I
headbanging. I
Right,
guess.
yeah. Which I want to say sorry about that. Sorry about your head. It's crazy that it was that episode because I feel like I've had other episodes that are a bit more, that I thought were a bit more touchy, but
It's always
don't
the
know.
ones you don't expect.
Yeah.
Well, here, let me tell you something funny that relates to that last episode. So the one with Steven, right?
Right, yeah. The one that
So-
just came out.
I loved it so much that I reached out to Steven, and I actually, we got on the phone and we had a FaceTime call today. Just
Oh,
felt like
awesome.
another brother. Yeah. So I was like,
that's
dude,
great, man.
I told him I could feel his passion for Jesus just with him talking. And that encouraged me greatly. So we had a great conversation today. We talked about the Bible and testimonies, and we prayed for each other. And I was like,
That's awesome.
I loved it. So
That's so
So
cool.
there, Mark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
you did.
I can feel the wall shaking as we speak from that.
I can
I'm just
still
kidding,
hear
Mark.
it. He's no. Mark's a good guy, and it's for some reason I've seen this around. The whole conversation about a Super Bowl halftime show has got so many different opinions from like
Yeah.
actual Christians that I know, and I've kind of found that kind of surprising. But I guess that's when you live with yourself with your own opinions, you think that everyone should share them. So I'm curious, and maybe we can start with this. What do you guys think about and I'm sorry we're bringing this up again for a second episode,
Mark,
but
it's gonna be okay.
yeah, it'll be okay. And I guess I'll probably defend myself, my opinion. But what are your guys' thoughts on having an alternative Christian halftime show? Not necessarily about like the Turning Point USA or anything, but just in general having an alternative. I guess what Corey Asbury was talking about, having a alternative family friendly Christian halftime show. I don't know. Do you guys think that is it something that we need, or is it something that would be, I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts?
I feel like need is a really strong word, right? Like we technically don't even need professional football.
Yeah,
Like,
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
Okay, I don't need professional. Mark's already angry. No, and Eric, everybody's mad at me.
I'm pretty mad now.
Yeah. I can feel it.
Steven's mad too.
For me, I'm not somebody who just like watches a ton of professional football. Like I've watched it. I've enjoyed it. Usually the Super Bowl, I might catch it if I'm with friends or something like that. I might be the odd one here, but if it's Super Bowl and somebody's performing halftime show that I'm intrigued by, I might miss the entire game and turn on the TV to watch the halftime show.
You and a lot of other people, for sure.
But like, is it a need to have any halftime show? Not necessarily, but I don't have a problem with there being an alternative, because the reality is that there's a lot of people watching it. There's a lot of families watching it. And if there's something else for them to change the channel to, like the NFL has enough money that it's not going to be a problem that people are watching, watching
be shaking in their boots.
I just think it kind of depends on the approach. And truthfully, I don't know that we know enough about Turning Point's approach or Forrest Frank and Corey Asbury's approach, other than them just wanting to provide one, to be like, this is a bad thing. I don't know how you guys feel on that.
Yeah.
Well,
what are your feelings, Eric?
Yeah, I'll jump in. So I saw, when I first saw, I saw the little reel that Corey Asbury made, and I just immediately thought, this is great. And the reason why it's great is not because I'm looking forward to a CCM 30-minute thing. Like, I probably won't even watch it. I mean, if it happens, I may watch it just out of curiosity. But for me, like, if it was, when Prince played the halftime show, I was like glued to the TV. This is like amazing, But, most of the time I'm just like, I turn it off and we go toss football outside for a few minutes and then come back in. So do we need it? Obviously I know you didn't mean it in that deep sort of way, but here's why I was excited, because it seemed like from last year to this year, so much has changed and so many people are open to the gospel that we're not. I mean, I'm talking, dude, I keep meeting these people. I had an intern send me a message about coming into the studio and seeing if I had an internship or whatever. And I just met with the guy. And I'm wanting to share the gospel with him. And as I start to kind of talk to him and open up that conversation, I find out that he's been a Christian for less than a year. And he's like a brand new Christian, doesn't go to church yet. So now after that conversation, I pressed him to go to church. He's going to church now. But I'm just saying this is happening over and over and over and over again. So when I hear about a Christian halftime show, what I think is that represents that there's something cool happening in our country, and people are open to the gospel in a way that they haven't been before. Not to mention that I sort of hate almost all mainstream stuff. So, like the fact that I would turn it off, it's not for me that I'm excited. I'm excited that there's some alternative option, and I don't know if this is good or not, but it would make me happy if the ratings went down on on the
Yeah.
Super Bowl just during halftime, because I do think
Sure.
that it's wicked to have this guy. I mean, just like I looked up Bad Bunny, and it's just he just looks so gay and like wearing dresses and all this kind of stuff, and I'm like, this is not this is. I thought we learned that this is not what we want to promote in our country over the last few years,
Hmm.
and
And and
so
it's not
that's
even
it
that
for
because
me.
it's also like his lyrical content and like
Yeah.
because I tried I was kind of aware of Bad Bunny, and then I just kind of looked up the first music video that came up on search on YouTube, and I couldn't finish it because I had like the it translated to English, and I'm like, oh well, this is. Well, I definitely wouldn't want any kids like looking up the meaning of these lyrics, and also that there's like girls twerking and everything, and it's like I know that
Yeah,
this is kind of the
Yeah.
norm for the secular music industry, but why do we have to accept it as the norm?
I don't
I
It's
think
think
it is anymore.
Yeah, it's a big divide right now in it, and that's why I think
yeah.
this topic is getting so much attention. Not even just within like the Christian community trying to like decipher it, but like
Mm-hmm.
it's getting secular media attention, like a ton of it, way more
Yeah.
than it would have. And I mean, of course, it's twisted all sorts of ways that, however, whoever's talking about it wants to position it. But I mean, if I'm looking just objectively, like you were saying, Clifford, both of you were saying, like at Bad Bunny, like as a person, and also like in what he's promoting lyrically, like I can't support that, right?
Right.
And I also can't be surprised that the NFL supports it, because it's like the Super Bowl is one of the wildest like money thrown at it nights. I mean, it's also known as one of the biggest nights of human trafficking, and they don't do
Oh
much
yeah.
about that around. Like it's like there's so much that happens adjacent to this, that at the end of the day they just are like, are we getting the money that we need? That for me,
Yeah.
I'm like, if any money is taken from that, I'm cool with it. you know?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I guess my thing is like why I generally see it as a net positive if we want to have an alternative Christian halftime show is like if you just put the two against each other, like having a Bad Bunny halftime show versus having a halftime show where hopefully the name of Jesus is glorified, and hopefully the gospel is portrayed in some way. It's like I don't see how you can really compare the two, and
Yeah.
so that's why, in my opinion, it's like I don't like the only thing that we need, and I said this in the last episode, is more Jesus. Like we definitely need more Jesus, and I don't see how that's a bad thing for that to be promoted more in pop culture. I mean, I get it. I think a lot of the people who are skeptical about that, a lot of the Christians, are mostly those who, like me, have been very critical of, like most of us here, people who have been very critical of the CCM machine, as Eric would put it.
Oh,
And so like
TM. No.
so I get that. I get the cynicism and the skepticism, but I don't know. I think, and we can talk about this. There does seem to be some change that is happening in the CCM industry. I mean, maybe not in the machine itself, but like in people who are involved, and we see that a lot in Forrest Frank and Corey Asbury, and now like people like Jeremy Riddle are speaking up out against the devil wards and such. So what are you guys' opinions right now with, like, do you guys also see the same thing where things are just all of a sudden shifting a bit?
yeah. I want to jump in and keep us on the halftime show for a second. So
Okay, fine.
if
Mark's
if
gonna
there-
hate it.
Well, it's all right. He'll end up being super
He'll learn.
excited by the end of this. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
About the
he's getting
halftime
so
show.
many shout outs right
Yes.
now.
Yeah. Follow Mark at something mark.com.
Mark Edward Murphy.
There you go.
Mark.com.
So here's what I was thinking though. There are a lot of, so just because it's a quote unquote Christian halftime show doesn't mean that it's going to be good or that I'm supportive, because I don't
Right.
know until I see it.
Yep.
And the reason why I was excited is because it was Corey Asbury, who I just started learning about, recently, and because he seemed to be coming from a different angle. If it was somebody like some main CCM, I don't know, like Christian worship, like if I don't know Bethel, I don't even honestly I don't know the Christian music industry that well, but if it's some worship
They're still
leader,
there.
like, we want to do a Christian halftime show, I wouldn't be like excited. I'd be like, oh, that's gonna be stupid. I think the fact that it was like Corey Asbury, and on the heels of all the stuff that we'd seen with him and Forrest Frank and everything else, I felt like this is not just a Christian, like a CCM show. This is the kind of people who are encouraging me, because it seems like when they talk about Jesus, it seems like it's not canned, and it seems like they're not doing it because they feel like they have to. But when Forrest Frank talks about things, to me he seems genuine. He seems like a guy who I would want to pray with, or who I would expect that if I met him, there's a good chance he's going to be like, brother, let me pray for you. Yeah, he just seems like a guy who loves the Lord. So I don't get that sense from the CCM industry. So that's what I'm saying. Like, and another thing is, if they were going to like have this event and then like air it on TBN, I mean, I heard your comment about that. I'd be like, dude, don't do that. That's stupid. TBN has all sorts of false teaching on it. Let's just stay out of the system. And so it was exciting to me that it seemed like something that they were going to just organize, grassroots kind of thing. And that's why I was excited about it. Not because it was CCM.
Yeah.
I don't listen to CCM.
Yeah, right. I think the hesitations that I would have about it would definitely be things that I don't know until it happens. Like, okay, how do they position this? Do they position this in a way that's like, if you're not watching this, then like it's a problem? Like all of these like kind of nuanced things that could be there, but when I kind of look at what they were saying as they were talking about their concept, at least Forrest, Frank, and Corey, right? Like, when I look at that, it just seems like two guys that were like, hey, could we provide an alternative to Bad Bunny for people that don't want to watch that but want to do something with the time? It doesn't seem like a quick cash grab necessarily. But again, it's just so much we don't know because we haven't seen it yet.
Right. Yeah.
But to your so that your question that I interrupted by going backwards was, do we see something cool happening? Like, do we see something moving in this world? And I mean, I think I've already mentioned, but yeah, I see something across the globe. I see, I don't want to say revival because I don't really know how to define that, but I see so many people coming to Christ. So I do think that there's a shakeup happening, and I think it is affecting the Christian music industry. And I have a lot to say about it, but I want to hear what Jonathan says so that I can steal some of his ideas and act like I know what I'm talking about.
Nice. Stealing ideas. That's also very CCM.
So there you go.
I do think that there's a lot happening. And I think it's been like a long time coming I hate to call it like a reckoning, but all systems that are flawed eventually fall. Like you see it time and time again. Like companies that aren't put where they're supposed to be and they're not run efficiently, they usually go bankrupt. Or like churches and other organizations that their leadership structures and like morally are corrupt in the background, they usually fall too. Like it just takes a matter of time. When I look at CCM, if we're thinking about it for what it is, it's still fairly young as an industry, right? Like, I mean, we're talking 70s, 80s are when we finally start seeing something that resembles, recording and collaboration and pursuing it in a
Like record
career way.
labels
Yeah,
and
record
such.
labels, stuff
Yeah.
coming up, And um I just feel like that what happens is that that slowly got shifted to like, okay, well, this is working for the secular, so it probably will work for the spiritual. And that just, it never works for anything, even but music too. Like, we're packaging worship and we're trying to make it do something that it functionally isn't intended to do necessarily. And so I feel like the change we're seeing right now is where the industry of it is falling apart, because the product that's been packaged is not something that can be contained in that way. And I also, this is a conversation I've had with my dad a lot. My dad pastored for years and years, where when we look at what people are capable of handling, like with glory, it's nothing. Like, we are not capable of handling any glory that is put our way efficiently. And
Right.
so when you start thinking, oh, like, let me take some of that glory that's supposed to be redirected and pointed towards God, like, let me take some of that on for myself. And then you've got a whole group of people that are all doing that. Well, of course, like, everything's going to crumble. We're not built to handle that. And so I think
Yeah.
that's just what we're seeing right now. And what's happening is like a separation, where you have guys like Forrest that, yeah, they might still like follow some like traditional marketing, but he feels torn, right? Like, there's the tear where it's like, actually, like, I think I feel convicted of not taking an award, or I think I feel convicted that maybe we should do this version of this show. And it's kind of like resetting. I don't know how you feel about that, Eric. What do you think?
Oh man, 100%. I agree with everything you said, and basically, I probably told you all that already, and that's how you knew
Oh,
it.
cool.
I'm joking.
I
You
actually
stole
I
his
wrote it all
ideas.
down. I said, Eric,
Yeah,
that was really
job.
good. Could you say it
job.
again?
I was like mouthing it all like while you were saying it, like in the TV shows when somebody you like.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
paid real
It's
close
a
attention.
spiritual. It's a spiritual thing.
So-
a spiritual gift.
I'm like,
have.
it's a
here's what I
spherical
think-
thing, a spiritual thing. Yeah.
Here are two things that I think are different now than like a year or two ago, and maybe I'm just now noticing them. One is that Forrest Frank went around the system. I don't know if you guys realize how he got famous. Basically was TikTok, and the Christian radio. Like, I've talked. So since I started doing Sower, I've talked. I hired a marketing company who has lots of experience in the Christian music world and in the secular music world. And I'm like, dude, you got to get me on radio somehow. They're like, oh, sorry, you can't do it. You got to pay big bucks, and almost always you have to be from a major label to get on there. So what happened was Forrest Frank, he blew up on TikTok and on Spotify, and so at that point the radio stations had to be reaching out to him, and
Yeah.
he was independent.
Yeah.
I mean, so basically he found his way around the industry, and I don't know if you've ever looked at this, but some of the biggest Christian bands on radio don't have a ton of followers on Spotify. It's because CCM's prime market is like it's like soccer moms and soccer grandmas. They actually market that way, like in their meetings. I've heard plenty of stories about. They're like, this song is good, but it doesn't really appeal to the soccer grandmas.
Like, you got to
I've
think
heard
about
people
the
tell me
crying
this.
soccer mom as she's dropping off her kids, and
Yeah,
it's-
so
They-
yeah, I've
Forrest
been very
Frank-
aware of that.
They call
He's
her
paved.
Becky, by the way. That's
Do they
that's
really?
their actual marketing term.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
that's
Poor
when
Becky,
I
who's listening to this podcast.
that's what they say.
So he made a new he's like fashioned a new way around it, and I truly believe that he knows that he's found a way around it, and he's ready to start at some point to pull a trigger and start bringing other people with him around the industry. But what it
Sure.
does, so I have this song on my CCM EP, Contemporary Christian Machine, which I thought of another title. I could have said Christless Christian Machine, but that's it's too late for that now.
Ooh.
But I'm joking. But anyway, so one of my songs is called Corporate Capture, and the thing about Forrest Frank is he's not captured by anything or anybody. And that podcast that we talked about a little bit and we listened to, with Ruslan, he was talking about how he doesn't need money. He has plenty of money, and he doesn't tour that much. Like he just does what he feels like the Lord tells him to do, which ultimately means
Isn't Forrest on his first tour right now? Like his first tour he's ever done?
I think
something like that.
Yeah, I just was looking into this. I've been looking into a lot, fellas.
Yeah. For those of you who don't
I
know,
don't even know how to explain everything I've been looking
Jonathan's been working on his own project.
I was
about
on
Forrest
page
Frank.
10 today writing it, and I was like, "This is too much. I can't
Nice.
comprehend this much information."
Well, I'm sure we'll benefit from your expertise on the subject.
Yeah, so sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought because I started
tour,
thinking through the whole
we were
thing.
talking about
the tour. Yeah,
I'll wrap up because there's one other thing I want to throw in there. So Forrest Frank's taken a different pathway, and I think he's gonna start bringing people along on that pathway, which is independent, which means that he can say or do whatever the heck he wants to say or do. And I think that's how I think Christian artists should be accountable to God, His Word, and their local church primarily. And if their local pastor's like, dude, put out this song, it's a banger and it's prophetic and it's scriptural, and the record label's like, oh, sorry, that's not going to sell, then you go, who cares? I'm putting it out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's the way it should be. So I think the fact that you've got non-spiritual leaders who are controlling the music is a problem. So I think Forrest Frank doesn't have that, and that's what that sets him free. Now, the other thing I've noticed is there's Another Land. It's a new record label. Citizens and John Van Dusen are on that label. Citizens and John Van Dusen, by the way, have just put out a couple of their best records ever. So what's happening here? I think what's happening, and I don't know the whole history of it, but Another Land is truly independent, at least right now. And the independence from the major labels, they might use their distribution, but the independence from the major label is what I believe is needed for the accountability to be spiritual rather than performative. And I think that they're paving a way for independent artists to be able to create great stuff that's not being squashed into this mold. That's my opinion.
And
at least two of
there
them.
actually might be something there with the I'm not an expert on the origins of Another Land, but from what I know, it was started by Joel Houston from Hillsong, and
which he split away from their stuff.
I think that was a big reason of the birth of Another Land, was because everything that happened with Hillsong, and he's like, I don't want to have anything to do with that, and started his own thing.
I think one of my friends works for Another Land, Benja Schick. He's in the band Laity. And he is one of the, I think, artist development, but he worked for a long time for Integrity, and left to go to Another Land, and which sounds hilarious to say. He left to go to Another Land.
That's so sweet.
It's like a little fairy tale. But it does seem really cool what they're doing, and even kind of. Look again, friends of mine, Chris McClarney, who was huge in CCM, wrote a ton of stuff for Jesus culture and stuff, and then he was like, I'm out, I'm not doing this anymore. And he and a guy named Jesse Phillips, they started an independent label where they were like, we just want to give Christians a space where they can create something and they can work and do what they want, and it's not about the money, and it's if it succeeds, awesome, they're going to succeed, but we want to free them from being signed for these crazy deals that are debilitating, and they're being told what they can and can't write. And so I think even things like that are popping up all over the place, or private marketing companies that are detached from, Capitol or Universal. They're doing their own thing. It's really fascinating to watch it happen.
Yeah, another two that just came to mind. One is, what about John Mark McMillan putting out an amazing album and then dropping music?
Dude.
Yeah.
That was a
at least dropping
move.
touring.
But just, I was like, dude, this guy, I mean, honestly, you're giving up the thing that you've done for years and you love. Why? because he wants to focus on his family and you know.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
he
no
was
James,
able to
no
do
James
that.
Dobson pun intended.
I
But
caught it, but I wasn't going to say anything.
he was able to drop because he wasn't tied to a deal that was like, you have to do 3 more tours, John.
Right.
You know,
Right.
It was another land. It was another
It was-
land records.
yeah.
Yeah.
Can I tell you guys the funniest interaction I've ever had in recent months?
Please.
I got a message from John Mark McMillan, and he said, "Hey,
Oh.
are you a North Carolinian?" And I said, "Yeah." And then I never heard it from him again. I was like, what was that? I was like, what was that, John? What were we talking about? Tell
He's
me
just
more.
like,
Tell me more.
Enough said.
Yeah, it's like, that's crazy. Because he's from North
just
Carolina,
like,
too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
He's just like, I hate North Carolinians.
But I think about
Blocked.
it a little bit too often. I'll be like, I wonder what that was about.
That's funny. It was probably just a spur of the moment thought he had.
Yeah,
and
he's like, this guy, he's from North
he
Carolina.
probably
when you
just gets
sent
so many
him-
DMs he just forgot.
Well, what did he say when you sent him like 6 messages a day for the next?
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that when I bombarded him. Yeah, I
He's
should.
like, okay, just because I send you one message.
I kept sending him messages saying, "Don't you want to know where I live? Don't you want to know where I live?" And then he finally said, "Where do you live? Are you from North
And then
Carolina?"
you gave him your address.
Yeah, I said, "Be here at this time, John. We're gonna make an album."
Oh man, that's weird that he never got back to you.
I know, right?
Oh.
It's so strange.
Man,
So
very
that was
selfish.
one. So that was one. John Mark McMillan, and then I mentioned this to you guys on text earlier. But Faith in Music, somebody shared this with me. It's a new organization, and
with the guy
some
from
long-haired
Striper.
dude from Striker. What is it called?
Striper,
Striper.
dude. Yeah,
I'm just-
Striper.
Come on, you're the old guy. You should know.
Whoa.
I know who they are. Dude from Striper and his wife started a foundation, and right now they're giving out grants. Okay, so I mean, I'm giving myself some competition if anybody goes and takes advantage. But you have to be 75% of your income has to come from music, which happens to be my case because I'm a producer. So
Right.
but they're giving out grants for recording records and for touring support, and they want
wild.
to support independent musicians. And I've heard of there's other Near Kingdom Records is another one. I got to know
Is that
one of the
Alex
dudes.
Zimmerman?
Yeah, so I've
Yeah.
talked to Alex a little bit, but they're going about it with lots of experienced people, and they're coming at it from a different angle. And I keep hearing these stories. People are getting creative on how to fund things and how to involve local churches in funding Christian music that honors Christ and is biblical. And to me, it's like, I don't know, maybe I keep thinking maybe I just wasn't paying attention a year ago or 2 years ago, and that's probably true. I wasn't. But it does seem to me like these things are springing up like crazy, and it coincides also with independent music on the rise across the board.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
major labels are struggling everywhere. Just chat GPT it. Like they're having trouble because distribution is becoming so easy for everybody. And I'm sure they're not happy about that because they want to control, the algorithm to where it just like snuffs out all of us. But somehow they've not been able to do that. And so I think it's good across the board.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you guys a fun story around this, and I think to me it shows like that label thing, and it was like a moment where I had to kind of like, not really all that much of a hard decision. Anyway, I had a label reach out to me last year maybe, and they're kind of an offshoot of Capitol. And basically, we're like, we kind of want to have a conversation with you about a sub thing that we're doing. And I was like, okay, so I get on the phone with them. Super nice conversation, great guys, like very kind. And they were like, so you could do country, right? And I was like, what? Well, I don't think so. Like, I don't think. And he was like, well, we're really looking to try to get somebody who does country music. And I was like, I don't do country music. And like, what would you guys be looking for? And it was basically like, we want you to write a 10-song album, and we take like a 60%, 70% cut. Also, the funding, we don't fund it. We fund a little bit of the marketing, but we might help you get on Spotify, and we might help you get on Apple playlists. And I just kind of told them, I was like, guys, like, I already, it's like I can record this in my house. Like I have the funding to be able to get it mastered, like, and I can also pitch to Spotify and get told no. Like
Right.
I was like, this is such an interesting thing, but it when I told them no, it felt like they had heard it a lot. Like they had kept hearing no because it was like,
Sure.
wash their hands of it. We're going to keep moving. And I
Mm-hmm.
told my wife, I was like, I think labels are just in trouble right now. Like they're
Oh
looking for
yeah.
something specific, but they don't have the ability to do what a label would have done many years ago. Pretty
Yeah.
standard.
And that's the thing, is that like what can a label even really do that you can't do by yourself? I think you guys have a little bit more experience, I guess, in that world than me, but
Eric,
just
you'd have more experience than I do, that's for sure.
Well, being in the studio, producing for labels and bands and stuff, yes. I was on a label, my band was on a label for a couple of years. But that was like in 2002, 3,
mm-hmm.
and they paid a bunch of money. They probably spent $30,000 for this independent band between the recording, the mixing, mastering. They paid for us to go down to Florida for 2 weeks and stay. Like they paid for our hotels, our food, our gas, everything. And then they paid for a radio campaign. So we did get on a bunch of Christian rock radio stuff, and we had songs up on the
Mm-hmm.
charts and whatnot because they did marketing. They
Yeah.
paid. They got us on like a pretty decent stage at Cornerstone. They paid for a lot of stuff, and we didn't have to pay back anything. In fact,
Mm-hmm.
back then, even like I don't even think we had to do like we didn't even have to recoup anything. Like they just said you get like 3 4 I don't know, maybe 500 CDs on the first run. Those are yours, and then you get like 15% of everything until we're recouped, and then it's like a 30/70. Like we got a great deal. But the
Mm-hmm.
point is that labels used to pay for stuff. Now they still do. One of the bands I record, they were just telling me, and nobody, you guys don't know who they are, it doesn't matter, but they got signed
Go
by
ahead, name drop them.
TikTok started a record label, and
Mhm.
they signed this
Mm.
band, and they gave them $100,000 budget
Wow.
for the recording and the marketing, and they basically gave them free reign. Like you choose your producer, you do whatever you want with the money, but you better get something good done. So like they so they're treating them way better than record labels treated people a year or two ago. I think that's more
Sure.
evidence that like the labels are figuring out that they better do something different. So this band, they were going to end up spending like 50 grand and then keep the other 50, but it is a 100% advance. So
Hmm.
they don't make any money until that whole thing is paid off from sales.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, is like basically what a record label does is gives you a loan that you might be able to pay back, and once you pay it back, then you start making money. So
Which
it is
is
kind of
why
like
the tours happen.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it can be cool if you want a really good recording, you want to pay some big producer, and basically it's like a loan that you might not ever have to pay back, and if things don't work out, then the record label eats it. That's kind of the
Mhm.
benefit. But if things do work out, then the record label makes a buttload of money that could have been yours. So it's just kind of
Right.
and honestly, like one of the bands I recorded, they this band, I will say, they're called Public, and it's the biggest song I've ever produced, and it's called Make You Mine, and it's got like a billion plays across the platforms. It's like a huge song, and
Oh.
when they got signed to Island Records, they used my recording, which was cool. And so I got like 1.5 points on this, and like I thought they were going to blow up because they were already blown up. They were huge, and then within a year, the label had dropped them, recorded like 2 or 3 singles, and that's it. And we're like 3 or 4 years later, the label's still making all the money off of that. Like when I look
Dang,
at the
man.
breakdowns, it's like this label snatched up this band who had already gotten huge on TikTok, got their claws into the copyright, and then sent them along on their way. So that's why, I mean, I hate the music and like, I mean,
Sure.
I hate the music industry. That's why we're having this
They-
conversation, and it's no different on the Christian side of things a lot of times.
Yeah.
I'll keep it without names because off the record or whatever we want to say. But
Boring.
I have a friend who he used to work for a label, a Christian label. That narrows it down a little bit for you. And in about 2010, 2011, there was a group that's remained very popular, and members from this group still tour solo. Anyway, that's all you need to know. But basically, they were signed with this label. They put out their first album, which was pretty massive. And my friend was in charge of setting up basically like the celebratory meals or whatever that they would have at headquarters for the bands. Like, hey,
Okay.
happy release day, it's out to the world.
Okay.
And my friend said this is what eventually led him to quitting working in that zone of the industry, was because he was like, oh my goodness, I just dropped thousands upon thousands of dollars on this one party, and there's like 20 of these parties going on in the building right now. Right. And he's talking to one of the lead guys, and that guy is basically like, it's hard to be excited when I know I just went $75,000 in debt and I'm just going to have to tour, but like at what cost? Like, I'm not going to be around my family hardly at all now. And
Oh my gosh.
it
So you're
was
telling me that they threw a party on the dime of the artist?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, like they threw a party, and that like it was like, congrats, your album is out, but that money kind of came from the fact that this artist had just made a bunch of money. Like, it was just this terrible situation. And so at that point, my friend was like, I don't think I can do this anymore. Like, I feel icky that I even just planned this party. Like, what am I doing? And so I think it's a lot of people having that moment where they're like, what are we doing? Also, I'll tell y'all off stream who it was, by the way, because y'all.
Okay. All right.
And then you
hold
can,
you to that.
Clifford. Then you can edit that name back in.
It's like Toby Mac. It was not Toby Mac.
Okay, if it wasn't Toby Mac, that leaves a bunch of more people who.
Okay, that we can cross him off
that
the list.
That only
then.
leaves half of Franklin and Nashville.
Hey, I did want to say back to the
Exactly.
Forrest Frank topic. I did some research, and my studies showed me that roughly 80% of CCM radio is owned or is distributed by major labels, and the other 20% is Forrest Frank.
Wow.
That last part's a joke.
That's great.
So
That's
he's still not signed at all. He's still like independent.
He has a slight. This is again stuff I've been digging into. He
Right.
is
Yeah.
semi-independent, but he does have sort of a distro deal through, I think it's UMG potentially.
Okay.
Which, at that point, it's kind of more of a benefit for them to just let him do whatever he wants. He kind of bypassed this whole problem, like you were saying, Eric. Like, they basically he reversed it to where they were like, "Hey, we would love to distribute your music, and you just do it under your independent stuff." But it's really fascinating.
Yeah,
they are
because that was
the major labels. They built the highways, the distribution highways. So if you want to get to California, you can either take the highway or you can take a back road and never get there. So it is kind of like you at a certain point, the distribution is not nearly as big of a problem as the ownership. And I did want to say, like, what labels are doing now is they're trying to position what that guy called you. He's like,
he was doing a distro deal.
What they're trying to do is position themselves in such a way that they can pick up independent artists and look independent while being owned by a major label. I remember Acceptance. Do you remember the band Acceptance?
Yeah.
Super good band. One of my friends from this band, Hangnail, was the drummer for Acceptance, Nick Radovanovic. He actually produces he mixes a ton of CCM stuff. But I met him through playing shows and stuff. But their band was signed to the Militia Group, and it was like this hip, new, independent record label. But like, I remember hearing at shows and stuff like, well, they're kind of owned by Columbia or whatever it was. Like, it was basically an independent, cool record label where all these indie rock bands were getting signed, and it was like this big up and coming thing. But and I could be wrong about the names, to be honest, but it was basically like a major label started an independent label so that they could have that vibe. And
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
what happened with all these Christian labels is eventually they're like, well, we did get an offer for $6 million to buy our label, but we still get to keep our name. We still get to keep this, and basically almost virtually all the Christian labels sold out within like the last 20 years, and I think that's a huge part of the problem.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well,
Yeah.
you have all the non-believers that are now suddenly in charge of distributing and holding things that are for believers. It's super like it'd
Right.
be like just putting a random guy and be like, I guess you're one of the pastors here, and he's like, well, I don't believe in God, but like I'm pretty good at book work, and you're like, yeah, but you're not. I don't think you're supposed to be doing this. Like,
Yeah. I mean,
and
that's
it would
kind
be
of
like,
been a problem, is that, a lot of people in this industry they're not even Christians. They're just there because of the money, because it's a job or whatever. It's because someone had to do it, and so they just gave the job to someone who wasn't even a believer.
yeah.
And
yeah,
and that's kind of
so
like top down.
I would say this connects to the Jeremy Riddle video, and I know you mentioned it on the
Mm-hmm.
last podcast. If the listeners haven't watched it yet, go find Jeremy Riddle's video.
Yeah.
I don't know, he talked about the Dove Awards and his issues with. Now, I thought what he said was great. He's not even saying that it's wrong in and of itself. Like I picked
Mm-hmm.
up that like something just because it's worldly doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong. It's just this is the way the world does things. So it's like banks are
Mm-hmm.
worldly, but I use one to
Yeah.
store my money, FDIC approved
Right.
or whatever. But what he's saying is that the whole system is based on worldly merit. And so he's like, Song of the Year means the song that was played most this year. Same thing is that
Mm-hmm.
once you get your paycheck from somebody who, obviously, like you have to do your job in order to get paid. And what is a successful job is that you meet your goals, your quotas, all that stuff. So when you're owned by a major label, what are they doing? They're saying, this is what sells. This is what you need to make. If you can't do that, then you're going to have to find a new place to work. And you've got real,
Mm-hmm.
genuine Christian people who are like, man, like I'm not going to get fired. I've got a wife and kids at home to provide for. And so you just go along with it because it's the system itself
Mm-hmm.
it's really hard. Well, what am I going to do? Go work for some other label and have the same exact spot? So like everything is positioned in a way that like it's owned and managed by this system that says if it sells to the ladies driving their kids around, then we approve. If it doesn't, we don't approve. It's that simple.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And what you end up getting is, I think, this is what I wrote this note down. I think CCM is the evangelifism. What did I say? Evangelifishism hymn book.
Oh
So
man, I was.
evangelifishism. I tried to make that up and I couldn't even pronounce it, but it's the hymn book that the most baseline soft gospel preaching
Mm.
is like the popular seeker sensitive sort of church, mega church, whatever. Like they're preaching to the people, and so the people want to hear music that consists with that preaching. That's why there's no deep theology on CCM. That's why there's not a whole lot about Christ on the cross for our sins. There's not much about sin. There's not much about
Mm-hmm.
repentance. It's because that doesn't sell to that group of people. So I think there's two ways to reform this culture. One is to reform the church, and that's really the only way. But the other way would be to start pulling back that music and be like, no, we're not giving you this soft, sour skim milk anymore. Your music
Mm-hmm.
is going to have some nutrients in it from here on out. But I just don't see it working that way. I see it. It's like as the church becomes more mature, the music will have to be more mature because people will stop buying it. So it's kind of like I don't know what comes first, the chicken or the egg in this case, but I think it's the chicken because God made the
Yeah.
chicken.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so. And we started seeing conversations about this a lot. during, and I'm going to bring us back a little bit back to the
Y'all
whole.
are so good at bringing us back. I haven't
You're gonna
done
bring
it
it
one
back.
single time.
Nice
What we
job.
do is
Hey,
go
Jonathan,
back.
would you like to bring us back real quick?
I don't even know where we're
I was
bringing
bringing us back
to.
first,
Cliff's
okay.
gonna do it.
It's my show. No.
I do what I want, Jonathan.
Yeah. So the whole Michael Tait situation happened, and I think
brought us back.
I didn't
Yeah, I
want to bring
did.
it. That's
Yeah.
the one I
It's
didn't
kinda
want to bring
far
back.
Well, because on the surface level, what's going on now with like the whole Forrest Frank stuff and such, and everything with Michael Tait, I think on the surface level they might seem unrelated, but I think that there is a connection because the Michael Tait situation was kind of a wake-up call for a lot of people, being like, wow, this was something that was going on for forever, and apparently it seems that different people within the CCM industry were involved, it seems, allegedly, but that's kind of how it seems to be shaping up. And now it seems that with we have these, independent actors like sorry, I didn't even mean to say John Van Dusen. He showed up on my screen.
He just showed up behind you. Yeah, that was pretty weird.
Oh, hey.
John Claude.
No,
Say
I meant
Bloody
to
Mary
say-
3 times in the mirror.
Pretty much. See, I started doing this
So
thing. It's like,
awkward.
hopefully people won't find it distracting, but I think it's more
Oh, it's
distracting.
I find
to
it
me.
distracting.
Yeah,
I mean, for the audience mostly, but
they'll be fine.
And-
Mark,
yeah,
are you
I'll be
okay? I'm
fine.
just checking in on you. Anyway,
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
He's the only one watching. What I meant to say was independent actors like Forrest Frank who are working around this, and it seems that and then like Corey Asbury was also speaking out against the music industry when all the Michael Tait stuff happened. So I guess the point that I'm trying to say is that do you guys also kind of see these things kind of related in a way with it kind of just seems that the CCM industry is kind of imploding, and people are kind of being woken up to the facade that it's kind of become. Not saying that it's all bad, because we were seeing a lot of that when the Michael Tait thing showed up. There were a lot of good CCM artists kind of coming out and being like, hey guys, it's not all bad, but I don't know. Do you what do you guys think about that?
yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's connected, right? Because it's just a lot of emotion around CCM right now, one way or the other. That you've got like people really emotionally defending everything about it because it's something that they're like very attached to, and then you have people that have been dunking on CCM for years that are like, like I knew it, like that kind of thing too. So it's just
Like
a lot
me.
of emotion. But I mean, just perfectly honest, like for like the Michael Tait situation, I would say the first time that I heard the rumor of him being gay was probably 6 years ago from some people that
10
live
for
around
me.
the area. And that's what I'm saying is like people will like they like knew that something was there that was anti scripture,
Mm-hmm.
and people were afraid to act is what it really came down to. Like, how do we hold him accountable? And I think that alone showed a problem within the system of like, hey, this is something that we label Christian. This is something that we are like attaching the name of Christ to and saying this is this group of people. Yet it really seemed like a lot of people were afraid to just say, hey, Michael, like, you should stop this, dude. Like,
Yeah.
we're hearing these things and like confront you. And then at the same time, you had people that were very afraid to speak out about the things that had happened to them. And that's, you would wish that an industry live with the label of Christ,
Mm-hmm.
people would feel more comfortable to like approach someone and say like, hey, I'm struggling with this thing happened, and like trust that quote unquote system would do the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that this whole thing imploding and finally going public and like all of this other stuff connected with not only his like homosexuality, but like the assaults and things,
Mm-hmm.
it just further pushed people to realize like something is very broken within this because he was one of the most established people we've seen in two different bands.
Yeah.
Like, not just one, right? Like, I mean, for years and years and years. And so people see that and they're like, that can't be right. And so they're looking right now for what is supposed to be the way it is. And so I think like guys like Forrest, guys like Corey that are suddenly stepping forward and saying, hey, like, it doesn't have to work like this, right? It's
Right.
like, that is the connection, is the fact that people are seeing something contrary to what is now a massively sad and terrible thing, right? Like, it's a mishandling versus an attempt to see, can we find what has been lost within all of the noise of this group. Does that make sense, Eric? Does that
Yeah.
feel like
Yeah.
it's hard to
I
put it
think
to
so.
words exactly?
Yeah, I have a couple comments that kind of go off of that. Yes, I think that's what's happening, and for one, Jesus says that what's in the darkness will come to the light. Like, things will
Yep.
be exposed, and anytime that happens, that's God's discipline, whether it be for a person. Like for me, if my sin is exposed, or like in my marriage or something, like hopefully it would be me confessing my sin to my wife or to my small group. And but sometimes somebody sees something in me that I didn't see or whatever, and they have to call me out on it, and I'm thankful for that. But when that happens, as soon as it comes out, whether it's like good or bad, it really does make people look at themselves. And I think that I was thinking of this scripture in 2 Corinthians 7, where Paul, he's talking about how he wrote the first letter, and he's like trying to be compassionate towards them, but he's like, he's like I'm sorry that I grieved you, by this letter, but I'm not sorry because you were grieved into repenting. He's like, you felt a godly grief so that you suffered no loss through us. For godly grief produces a repentance that leads to salvation without regret, whereas worldly grief produces death. So I think you've got a lot of grief happening in the Christian music industry. A lot of people are like, man, Michael Tait, like, it shakes you up, and it either pushes you away from God because it's not godly grief. It's worldly grief, and it brings destruction. It's like, but if you humble yourself and turn to the Lord because of it, then it produces repentance, and it produces change. So I think God is disciplining the whole church, and that doesn't, I mean, look at all the people who have been exposed with their sexual sin. Look at all the pastors that people looked up to. Like, I mean, Robert Morris, I didn't know much about the guy, but there was a lot of people that I knew who were like, oh my gosh, he was an awesome teacher. And then the dude, another guy, a reformed guy out like John MacArthur Church guy, I can't remember his name. It's somebody.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but there's like all these people
yeah.
who you maybe wouldn't even expect are being exposed for their sin, and we're like, there's a problem. Hey, do you think maybe having a church of like 10, 20,000 people might actually be a problem?
It doesn't work.
It's like
yeah.
it's like what you were saying. And so I think that genuine Christians are going to grow because of this. I think anybody who really is like waking up in the morning and seeking the Lord with an open Bible and just praying to God, those people that are in the Christian music industry are going to get set on fire, and that other people are going to get out of there because they're like, oh dude, Michael Tait got busted, I better get out of here. Like, so I think that there's just, God is disciplining the industry. I did want to say, I think one of the things I've thought through now, I do want to say one thing before I say that one. I know a guy fairly well. I'm not going to say his name, but you guys probably don't know him. But he's worked in the Christian music industry for a long time, and he knows the Newsboys guys. And he's 100% convinced that they didn't know what was going on. They did not know what was going on. I can believe that,
actually.
And the reason why, because I've been on tour and stuff, I know the touring life enough. I've toured a little bit. There's always a guy who just disappears. And he's like, oh, what's he doing? He's gone. I said, I bet you he's the guy on the tour who's just like exploring all the time. Yeah, I'm going to go check out the town, blah, blah, blah. And he said, absolutely, that's what he was. He was like bouncing off the walls. Michael Tait was all over the place. It seemed like he was just like, now he's like looking back, I guess it was probably cocaine, but
Yeah, dude.
you know. But he was just like this ball full of energy. He would come up and hug the guy, my friend, and then just take off. And it was like, yeah, Michael, he's out. He's checking out, food or whatever. He was escaping and he was doing his thing and he was coming back. You know what I mean? That
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's feasible. But I also do think, and this might just be my skepticism, I try not to be too jaded. I think that's a problem. I think a lot of times when you see
I
people who are
fall
mad
into
at
that too, man.
Forrest Frank, they're just jaded. There's no way this guy is this good. Like he's
Right.
just a
Yeah.
perfect, perfectly clean cut hypocrite, probably like everybody else. I think people are jaded,
Mm-hmm.
and I try not to be that. But I think one thing I thought though is like if you've got a worldly culture on tour, and you've got everybody, supposedly like we don't drink on tour. Like people say that, yeah, you do. Not only that, it's like if you watch any of these videos of Michael Tait, they're like out late, 2, 3, 4 a.m.
Dude.
drinking. And I'm telling you, if I'm doing
Mm-hmm.
that, I'm probably having one or two too many. And if I'm doing that
Mm-hmm.
every night, that's not good for my soul. So I
Yeah,
think that there was a lot of people not asking the questions because if I ask you about your sin, then you might ask me about my sin. And
the
hypocrisy
accountability's not there.
silences. Yeah, hypocrisy
Yeah.
silences Christians. And so that's why
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
it's so important to be in a church, and especially, I mean, in a church, period, but a church that preaches the word and a church where people know you and love you and say, hey, dude, were you drunk last night?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, maybe I was just buzzed. Dude, drunkenness is a sin, Ephesians 5, Galatians 6. Like, you need to repent. And I love you. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to walk with you. But, like, how many of these guys who are on tour 200 something, nights a year have that kind of accountability? So I think the whole
Right.
system that I'm done for now, but that's kind of my thoughts on all that. And so I think God's disciplining the church.
I
Yeah.
uh I always at least appreciated this. I don't know much deeply about it, but except from the surface level. But Casting Crowns, Mark Hall, they've almost notoriously been known for the fact that they're like, we have to be home by Sunday to gather with the churches that we are a part of,
Mm.
and turning down shows, turning down money to be like, hey, yeah, we toured, but like we have to be at church on Sunday to serve at the local churches we are a part of. That is just part of the deal. And
Yes.
I don't know about the churches that they're involved in or like their individual theologies or whatever, but I really appreciate that
They're
stance.
Mormons. I'm just kidding.
I don't.
I'm sorry.
No.
I'm
Maybe stay away
joking.
from your church.
Yeah. No. I know they're not Mormons. It's
No, the
yeah.
dude I was telling you about said the same thing about Casting Crowns. He knows those
I've heard,
guys, and he
but
told me
see,
that
if
same thing, and he knows them well.
Yeah.
and I don't live anywhere near their hometowns. I don't know any of them individually. I know people, I guess, that know them, but the truth is that impacted me just through how they are choosing to live their lives to glorify Jesus with how they are pursuing serving him and being in the church. And it made it all the way to me in North Carolina, not
Mm-hmm.
because Mark Hall is out there being like, hey, by the way, on my story, like, I'm telling you, I'm home on Sundays. It's like
Right.
just the impact of it with people they knew personally made it to my house,
Yeah,
not through something they pushed out of like piety or trying to like tell people what to do. It's just
Mm-hmm.
purely their actions. And that's the kind of stuff that has been missing in many ways because the accountability's not there. The value placed on locally gathering with people that know you is not there. And these guys just tour forever. And
Mm-hmm.
they don't even know people. They barely know the people they're touring with half the time. So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy.
the steps. Okay, the steps from a mega church to being on tour, you know, 9 months out of the year, are very small. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I mean, I'm sure you can do it. You can be in a mega church and be in a small group and you know people. It's possible. But it's also very, very easy. And I know it by experience at the Vineyard, this huge church here I was at for like
Mm.
almost 10 years. I was like totally falling away from the Lord in my daily walk. But
Mm-hmm.
I was at church every Sunday. I even went to a small group. It was just so easy to fake it and you didn't know. So I'm just saying it's all related, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the point that you were making earlier about, is it the chicken or the egg? I think it definitely is the chicken. It's just the fact that um, there's just been this for a while now, people just disengaging from their church and things just kind of getting disconnected. And my hope is, because I think there is, I mean, I don't know for sure about revival, but there's something is happening where I think I saw some screenshot from like a news story today where like more apps, like Bible apps, are being downloaded, more apps about Christian living are being downloaded. There's a lot more interest in uh, in faith, and in specifically with the Christian faith. And so my hope is that that starts to affect everything, because I think with everything, with things going on in the church, has had its impact on the CCM industry over the years. And so
Really quickly, this is something that has been impacted that's outside of just the Christian music world that I happened to see the other day. I don't know anything about the church itself, but it was a group that they basically decided to start signing an agreement, maybe would be what you want to call it, or kind of like of movement, where it's a bunch of pastors got together and started signing this to basically bring it to their people's attention,
mm-hmm,
the sale of Bibles, and the
mm,
publishing companies that are like, we own the ESV, or we own the Holman Christian Standard Bible,
mm-hmm,
and them being owned by publishing companies that are not run by believers. And it was these pastors saying like, hey, we love that there's access to the Bible. We don't love that these huge mega companies are like putting out a new study Bible or a new cover, or it's like the industrialization of even how we sell the Bible, and being like,
mm-hmm,
this is the word of God and we hold it valuable, and we do not affirm these companies taking that and being like, this is now a marketable item. Like, obviously things have to be printed and there's money involved in there, but they were like, we do not want to hold to these people who do not love God controlling the
mm-hmm,
printing of God's word, and then remarketing to us, repackaging it to us, and being like, actually, you can't use that translation on that screen, or you can't use it here because that's the one that we made. It's
mm-hmm.
like, that
That's why
sort
I'm
of movement.
Yeah.
that's why I'm NIV 1984 only. That's my
The
personal
only
conviction.
one. Yeah. You're not
That's
1611
the
KJV.
no, that's not the Bible.
That's
Only
that's
NIV
quite the mouthful.
1984,
only
doubly
that one.
inspired.
Yeah. Well,
That's the
You're
only one
right.
that's inspired.
You're right though, because this is Christian industry,
yeah.
and the thing is like, as we were talking about all this and like the rise of apps and stuff, I was like, oh no, this is just
It's
another
everywhere.
investment opportunity. Like, I was thinking,
True.
yes, I want the Bible to be downloaded. I want people to read the Bible. Praise God. But I just thought of like, you got these like people out in, Napa Valley. What is it called? Where they have all the new ideas and inventions and
Oh,
whatnot.
Silicon Valley. Yeah, Napa
Yeah.
Valley's
Same
where
thing.
like the vineyards are and stuff.
Dude, same
They have
thing, I
ideas
heard.
too.
Napa Valley is where they take
They're like,
naps.
dude, there's going to be so many more Christians like using wine instead of grape juice. There's like a
New wine
reformed,
sounds great.
I'm
like,
okay with that.
revolution going on. But yeah, that valley, the one you said. But it's like,
Silicon,
Right.
yeah.
it's like
Silicon
how many
Valley.
of these people are like designing these Christian apps right now? Like, oh yes, we're gonna
True.
make profit on
Yeah.
this, and I'm not like that's gonna happen. But I was just thinking like,
Right.
man, it's hard. It's like we're in this world where everything gets marketed, and the book industry, Christian book industry, like there's so many publishers that are owned by. I mean, if you look up like the publisher and who they support to, it's like
Yeah.
abortion's right activists. It's like that's where the money's going, and so I don't know.
Mhm.
Everything is
Yeah,
everything is
it
captured.
is-
But
Yeah.
Forrest Frank's going to
Yeah,
change that. He's going to start a new Bible publishing company too.
He's
Forrest
our
will do
new
it. Yeah.
he's our new prophet.
I'm like,
If
great. Now
Forrest
I gotta
can't
add
do it,
another
no
thing to my
one
essay.
I mean that
Do it.
was a conversation that people have been having, like especially since he came out about the devil wards and such, about not attending. People started criticizing him because he was selling hoodies for almost $100 and such.
Yeah.
And so I think
That's
it's
highway
an
robbery.
interesting. Yeah,
It's a lot. I mean,
it's
and
a
I
lot
think,
for a hoodie for me, but
I think that's why a lot of people, and which again, I'll talk about this more in my video because it's like I've just done so much research, but it's
Sure.
not organized yet. I think like guys like Forrest are going to end up basically hitting a big fork in the road where you're kind of going to have to make a decision on how you play all of it, not
Yeah.
just very specific parts of it.
Mhm.
Even down to like marketing techniques, or down to how much money you throw at certain things, or how much you charge people or don't charge people. But and it all is very nuanced, because it's like things cost money and things cost
Or
time,
you
and
have a family to
you
support,
have a family
like
to
he
support.
does.
And
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much to it, but I really do think that um, guys like Forrest are going to reach a point where it's like, okay, like this is going to cost me something
Mm-hmm.
that is going to be difficult, right? Not that he's not already having that right now. It's costing him his criticism and all of this too. But it's like, I really do think that the guys who hold to their convictions, independent or not independent, are going to get to a certain point where they're like, the way that I function as a whole has changed.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that looks like yet. I don't think any of us really know, other than like being independent and pulling a Keith Green and being like, my shows and music are free if you want to. Like, I don't know.
Right.
It's like,
Yeah.
it's
That's
always
what I
that
was
approach.
thinking, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that approach is like truthfully the one where you're like, hey dude, everything you've said holds value to me, because you're not just using one aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
I
And I
mean,
think guys like Forrest may get to that point, truly.
I
mean,
think
here's
so. I
the-
think he's the kind of guy.
yeah. Here's what I'm thinking, and this is, I mean, it's never going to be crystal clear. Never.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Never, because you have you have to have a clear conscience to make money for your family.
Mhm.
Period.
Mm-hmm.
I think what
Yeah.
Keith Green did was different, and he had plenty of money. I mean,
Yeah.
and what he did is he said, this is how much it costs. If you can't afford that, then just give what you can afford. And I think the generosity, they would literally send records out for free in their mailer.
Yeah.
And the fact that people saw that generosity, they said that sometimes they would get a check for $1 and sometimes $5,000. So I
Yeah.
think that there has to be a way for the church to, if there's going to be a new way to go about providing for your family, for musicians, it's going to involve the local church. Because if everybody starts doing that, then, I'm not going to be sending $5,000 to everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
Right.
like at a certain point, it's just going to become a wash. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that the all-in thing, yes, but there's a complicated relationship there when it comes to
Yeah.
the money. And so it's like, I would just be annoyed if I saw a Forrest Frank hoodie for $100, I'd be like, that's stupid. I'm not buying that. That's a ripoff. But why does he charge that? I mean, to give him the benefit of the doubt, I'm like, well, maybe the shirts maybe he's getting a really bad deal on these things.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
like paying like $50 and then, all the packaging and whatnot. Like, dude, it's not an iPhone, it's a shirt.
Yeah.
But my thought on Forrest Frank, okay, there's something I want to throw out there and see what you guys think. I do kind of consider him to be like a modern Keith Green, in his zeal for the Lord. And that's the thing that encourages me, but not so much in his prophetic voice. In fact, like Keith Green would preach the gospel very clearly, often.
Mm-hmm.
And when I hear Forrest Frank talk about Jesus, like, it's good stuff, sometimes I wonder if he's ever going to tell people that they're in danger of going to hell.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like, what is the gospel? Like the summary in 1 Corinthians 15, Jesus Christ died for our sins according to the scriptures, and he was raised on the third day. Well, what does it mean that he died for our sins? Like if you just even crack open the door a little bit on teaching what that means, you're going to have to warn people of the coming judgment, which is eternal hell, separation from God and enduring his wrath, like separation from his presence, the good side of his presence, and you're just going to experience his wrath. So my thought with Forrest Frank is like, my kids even said it. My daughter was like, it seems like everything he sings is all happy and positive all the time. Like that is a problem. Like he's a real dude. And so I would say for him to move forward, for him to grow and become, maybe that sounds arrogant for me to say, but I think for Forrest Frank to be able to like lead this movement forward, I think he's going to have to start getting real raw. And I think I've seen more of that with like, I think I've seen a little bit more of his, not just emotions crying out of joy because of how much he loves the Lord, but like, I want to see him talk about real problems, I want to see him sing about real problems. And not just that, I want to hear, I would love to hear, like I would love for this halftime show to come up and he's like, look, here's the reality of the situation is that if you don't know Christ, you have no hope in this life or in the next. And God has fixed a day on which he'll judge the world by the man Jesus Christ, Acts 17. And he commands everyone everywhere to repent. And you will be judged by God. But Christ took that punishment on for anyone who would trust him. And that's you right now. Trust the Lord. He will save you. He'll forgive you of your sins. Like I want to hear him preach a bold gospel message. I know he knows it. I know he believes it. But that's one of my thoughts with him is his preaching, his talking is more megachurch CCM sounding. And I'm not discouraged, but there would come a time 6 months or a year from now where it seems like he's not taking advantage of this opportunity.
Yeah. Kind of seen like one side of the coin, but maybe over time we'll see both sides of the coin. I did want to say, sorry, John, before
you're good. You're
go
good.
ahead.
I'll bring us back.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
No, not bringing us back anywhere. We're staying
Tait.
where we're at.
Oh, not that one.
No, not there. No. All the way back in the 1970s. I mean, I guess kinda, but a lot of people have been making the comparisons between Forrest Frank and Keith Green, and it's actually interesting because I haven't seen anyone else talk about this, but from his daughter himself, Keith Green's daughter, Rachel Green Taylor, actually made a comment somewhere saying she commented on some post. I don't even know what it was, but it was a screenshot. And she said, Keith Green is my dad. Many people have sent me this, and I couldn't agree more. Basically agreeing that Forrest Frank is basically becoming our generation's next Keith Green, which that says a lot. Right.
Yeah. That's pretty crazy.
I'll put it up on the video because I have that saved. And I think it's very true. Also, just in the sense that even like Keith Green, because I've read not his autobiography, the biography his wife wrote. I have it up on the shelf here. It's been a minute since I've read it, but I do remember.
No Compromise. I'm just saying that's what it's called.
No Compromise. Yeah, it's real good. I would highly recommend it to anyone. But basically, like Keith Green was, he was never perfect. He was imperfect in many ways, but he always let the Lord lead him. And in fact, today it's the 23rd of October right now. Just a couple days ago, it was both Keith Green and Rich Mullins' birthday, which I didn't even realize.
They were born
that
2 years apart.
Day?
Yeah.
On the same day.
Yeah, 2 years apart on the same. They shared the same birthday, and it's just crazy. Like,
it's wild.
Are you going to tell us that Forrest Frank
too.
also shares the same birthday?
Well, maybe we should look that up before the show's over. But
He's
it's
the
just
chosen
crazy.
one if he is.
It was meant to be.
We knew it.
Nissan Al-Qaib.
I'm looking it up. Keep going.
Okay. It's just crazy to think that two like giants in the CCM industry, well, in CCM history, that they were both men of strong conviction. Neither of them perfect by any means, but they were men of strong conviction, and we're already seeing that in Forrest Frank. And I think we're kind of in the early stages of seeing that, and what I hope is that it'll convict him to like what you're saying, to be even more bold in what he's believing. I mean, I think like it was bold for him to, make a video about Charlie Kirk, honestly. I don't think that if he was, tied to a label like all these
They
other
probably wouldn't have
Christian
let
artists.
him.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we were talking about earlier, is that he doesn't have those ties. And so I think from here on out, we're going to see a lot more boldness. I hope so. And I hope so because I want to see that be a ripple effect throughout, Christian music and such.
Amen.
But yeah.
I'm going to bring us back real quick.
And bring us back.
to even what Eric was saying a second ago, of really hoping and praying that Forrest gets very clear, because I think like one of the things for me, I would say I'm like very middle of the road with Forrest right now, and that's the way I'm trying to be, especially doing like all the research that I am right now. It's just like give me, like I just want to look at the facts of what's happening, without a leaning. And I was listening to Andrew Peterson just released a live album doing the songs of Rich Mullins, and I was listening to just some of the lyrics of that, and I had been listening to a lot of Forrest Frank, and I just had this moment where I just cried, man, listening to the words that Rich Mullins wrote. And it's not even coming from Rich Mullins. It's coming from somebody else and from a group of people that were also very impacted by him. And I'm having this moment where I'm like, in the words that I'm hearing right now, I feel like there are so many concepts about God being discussed, and there are so many like prayerful things being said, and so much honesty in what is being said. And I'm like in that moment contrasting it to what I had heard from Forrest's catalog at this point.
Right.
And I think there is honesty in a lot of what Forrest music is, but there's a lot of very happy and a lot of I don't want to use the word shallow because I think that's potentially too mean for the context of it, but it's like I think shallow also comes from like a different place potentially is maybe why I wouldn't say it, but not very deep, right? And
So shallow.
not that everything. Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I was trying to be careful with.
In other words,
I was trying to be
it's
kind,
like five.
right?
It's like the middle. It's like 5 feet deep right there. It's not the 3 foot. It's not the 8.
It's like there's every now and then there was something that I was like, that's interesting, and to coincide with that, I don't know if you guys saw like kind of what happened at GCU the other day with like him being a speaker for like this massive student thing. Okay. And I'll fill you in on this and explain how I know. But
bring us back.
He basically was hired to be a surprise speaker at a college event in an arena at I think it's Greenville Christian University, and he comes out and he says, I have not prepared anything to speak about. And he said, instead, I'm going to wait on God to give me a word to say. And so I've talked with students that were there because they were also told to put their phones away and not film this because it was not about him.
Okay.
And so there's not very much video of it. I've seen some that was gotten to me, but the students I talked with were basically like, he kind of sat there for like 20 minutes a pop in silence, and it was like super awkward. And then he like basically was saying like, you're all in, you're all out. Like you're either all in with Jesus or you're not. And then he went kind of like silent for another 15 or 20 minutes, and they're just
He
like,
couldn't
what are,
just he couldn't just prepared that.
So he's just, sitting there, and at one point he even said, like, I was sitting in the back trying to figure out like what I was going to speak on, and I just figured I'd wait from the Lord. And one of the people I talked with was like, when he said that, I was like, wait, 15 minutes ago in the back you were trying to figure out what you were going to like teach about, like teach about the Bible. This is like a 19-year-old kid who's saying this to me.
Yeah.
And I hear that, and I'm like, that's really discouraging. And eventually it turned into a Q&A because people just started yelling questions across the arena to him about like, hey, how do we deal with this thing in life? Or because it was so awkward. And his answer to all of them seemed to be like, it's just the gospel, man. Like, you're either all in or you're all out with Jesus. And it was
Why'd you
very
have to
blanket.
ruin my hope?
Look, I'm not. I am so sorry. Look, I've gone so deep. I was talking to a student today.
Forget it. We're not doing this episode.
No.
We're not putting it.
All
Can you
he said
cancel
is
this,
he was
Clifford?
And there's more I'll say about that in the video. I'm very sorry.
Cut his mic.
But it's yeah, kill him. It's like Mark's in here with me.
I'll
actually,
edit it out.
guys.
I'll edit this out.
Guys,
Mark's
I
off
do
to
have
the side with my
something.
notes.
I have something really important that I need to say. I'm just gonna wait for the Lord there to say it real quick.
Yeah. Now, the other thing, I do know what his speaking fee is. I've been able to find it, and it's a lot. And so sometimes when I see this, I'm like, okay, I really, really want I really deeply want to look at Forrest and be like, I think this is the guy doing this. And I think it's still potential to do it. I just think he's going to hit a point where he either has to be all in or all out, kind of like what he was saying to the students. And I think it's very possible he could be, but I think it's going to be a pretty big adjustment from what I've been able to kind of dig around with a little bit, because he seems extremely genuine, but I also he has not been involved within the church for very long. I mean, he grew up in the church, but he walked away for a while, and then he was in the band Surfaces, and they blew up, and he was not like walking with Jesus during that time until a little bit later. And then during that time, he was like, he felt like he got a word from the Lord and was like, I need to pursue Christian music, and Surfaces thing like imploded and all of this stuff. But through that was like 2022, and we're only 3 years later. And I look at him and I'm like, man, there's so much. I've been a Christian since I was like 14 years old. And I don't feel like I have anywhere close to all of the answers. And I feel a little bad for him, because so many people want the biggest answers from this guy right now. And it's so much pressure that I worry about him. And I want him to be okay. But I think that there's going to be a breaking point where he has to potentially quit. Like, I don't know. It's very interesting.
He needs to, man, I mean,
I'm sorry.
Okay. No.
Been holding back a little bit on that one.
Please.
I'll pray for my forgiveness for you.
Apologize again.
I am sorry.
No, but listen here. I mean, what I said earlier is that he says good things, but where is the teeth of the gospel?
And that's why I was connecting it with what you said. Is I feel that too, and I think it's potential for it to come.
In retrospect, reading No Compromise, and we have a documentary about Keith Green, and you can look up Keith Green. Just do it if you're listening to this or watching this conversation. Look up Keith Green teaching the Bible, and just listen to the way he talks about the Scripture. The truth is that no Christian artist who is up there singing about Jesus is worth. They shouldn't be up there if they don't know the Word of God and love it. Like, I was reading in Isaiah, I think it was chapter 65 the other day, and I underlined it multiple times. And he says, I will seek those who tremble at my word. And it's like, oh my gosh, Lord, will you make me someone who trembles at your word? And I'm not just talking about trembles at the word hallelujah. I'm talking about every word of Scripture. And if that's who Forrest Frank is or will become, praise God. If not, he's done.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we have
nobody
no
can
way of
stand
knowing.
under that pressure. Yeah. Well, I mean, you gave me some bad information just now, which
Well, but and
true,
again,
like
this
I'm
is.
not saying bad. I'm just
Here's
saying
the thing, though.
not encouraging.
What
I think he's young. That's the
Yeah.
other thing, though, is like it's just a lot of pressure on
Right.
a guy who's a pretty young believer, and that's where
He's
I think it
young.
may be hard for him.
and
is
and
Maybe that's
plus,
why
undue
he stays
pressure.
out of a lot of it. I mean, maybe
I
that
think
is
so.
why he doesn't tour.
And my guess is as well, and I think Jonathan, if based off of, I mean, you could probably give me more information, but my guess, I mean, I'm kind of making these judgments off of like the way that he acts and such, is that my guess is that he probably came off of some sort of, if it wasn't a mega church, it was some sort of church that was kind of in those same veins of like culture and such, because he kind of gives off those vibes. And so I wouldn't be surprised, and maybe that's why he's like charging so much for speaking opportunities and such, because that's what he knows.
Yeah.
And maybe, hopefully, what we're seeing right now is him unlearning a lot of that. Maybe coming to the realization of being like, oh, maybe this isn't the way to do things, because I see
that's
that
kind
a
of
lot.
what I pray to be the case, right? Because at this point, we don't have a sign of like him going deeper into that, right? Like he's at the point right now where he's disconnected from some pretty big things that would maybe hold him back.
Yeah.
So I hope, I hope for the best here, but
yeah,
didn't Ruslan or whatever his name is say that I think he made an offhand comment on that podcast that Forrest Frank goes to church with Phil Wickham, like he goes to Phil Wickham's church.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So
yeah,
I don't know what church that is, and I don't want to know.
Yeah.
It's not Bethel, is it?
I know some people that personally know the pastor of that church, and I will say that they are like, that does put a question mark in their mind. Not because of anything, like just a little, again, I guess I'll use the word shallow would maybe be the word for it.
Does he have discernment? And I think like my guess would be he has like a natural, like spirit-led discernment that I think like I can tell, like I believe he spends time with the Lord daily. But is he being discipled by a solid, godly group of men who can just like press on him and, dude, you got to stop. Do not ever again show up at a college and say, I'm going to wait for 20 minutes for the Lord. No, you pray beforehand. You open up your Bible and you ask the Lord what to show them. And if you don't have anything, you preach the gospel as clear as you possibly can from John 3, Romans 9, like Romans 10:9, not Romans 9. You preach Calvinism as clearly as you possibly can from Romans 9.
You can't do that.
I'm sure they won't have
allowed.
any questions if you do that.
He needs to study John Calvin, honestly. But tell me whenever you're ready, Clifford, for my bold prediction about the Christian halftime show.
Oh my goodness.
Well, maybe
we'll
we'll
really
save that
for
last, because I also wanted to I also wanted to say that, like, going back to the point of like maybe he's growing from where he's from, because already we're seeing he seems to have good relationships with Corey Asbury, and now he's got connected with Ruslan, which Ruslan I have a ton of faith in. I've watched him for a while. So hopefully there's something there, because here's the thing, even Corey Asbury, he's come from Bethel, like that's where he's from.
He came from House of Prayer, which just
House of
recently
Prayer.
went like pretty crazy. So
And
Sure,
he
it's not
hasn't
House of
really
Pancakes.
yeah. Only
well,
the
then I wouldn't have
international
any
one.
concerns there, but
I've heard they're pretty solid.
good food, both for the soul
I
and
always
for the
leave
stomach.
feeling fed.
It's all fluff.
Yeah. Nice, yeah. It's just
Oh,
too
it's still
sweet
so
for
good.
me.
Too sweet, yeah. Not enough meat.
Yeah, Corey. So
but
back to what you're saying.
anyways,
Corey came from Bethel.
yeah, he's from Bethel, and he hasn't really said anything like outright because maybe he doesn't want to, throw certain people under the bus. But some of the posts that he's said is kind of alluded to. I think he's just like completely cut off ties from them. I think he's gotten to the point where he realizes that he needs to distance himself away from that movement. And so if that's Corey Asbury, hopefully that we can say the same for Forrest at some point. But if not Forrest, then hopefully God raises up someone else, because I think God really used like both Keith Green and Rich Mullins in their time. And I think a reason why a lot of people are making allusions of Forrest Frank to Keith Green is that we're just desperate for someone like that.
That's true.
Honestly, I don't know if we've really even had anyone like that since Rich Mullins and Keith Green. It's been like everything is kind of felt oversaturated. And while I've definitely had artists that I have a lot of respect for over the years, there just hasn't really been quite that, like, I don't know, voice in the wilderness, like the same kind of effect that those guys had. So I think a lot of people are sensing that.
Unfortunately, I do feel like even with Keith Green and Rich Mullins, like they weren't actually, I feel like, all that appreciated until they were gone. In a way, especially I feel like Rich Mullins, Keith Green, like not appreciated in like a glorification way, but I think people knew more in the moment that Keith Green was doing something very different.
Yeah.
Rich Mullins, I feel like people understood what he was doing, but I think there were a lot of people that were kind of put off by the concept of Rich Mullins, and then when he unfortunately passed away, I think his infamy or his respect has grown since his passing. I don't know. How do you feel on that, Eric?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the same as you.
Okay. I was like, I don't know if I'm off on that. That's just
I don't know if I mean, that's the case all the time, right? Like,
yeah,
it doesn't matter who you are. It's like everyone.
So it kind of makes
like,
me think if there is someone now, we might not even know
until they die, like in an
Yeah.
unfortunate
Yeah.
accident. Like,
Yeah.
well, in the book, No Compromise, Keith Green's wife wrote this, and I think it's fantastic. But Jesus says at some point, like, unless a kernel of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it does not bear fruit. And so she was seeing the positive side, and she's not wrong. Like, I think that's true of all of us, and I think about that actually quite often. It's like, I want to live my life in such a way to when I die, all of the things that I've contributed to this world would start to grow in a new way. So I think that's going to be the case. But with a lot of bland, like a lot of the bland CCM stuff and pastors who nobody's ever heard of probably have a way better chance of making a big difference than a lot of the famous people. And I think that's the thing about Keith Green and Rich Mullins, is they both were just genuine people who would have been ultimately content in a small church, just worshiping the Lord. And that's the thing is I wonder about Forrest Frank, is that would he be content? And that's the thing that's encouraged me so much, is that he did put music down. And that's one of the reasons why I trust him, is because he did that. And it's a really hard thing to do that. So maybe in my mind, hopefully the worst case scenario is that he picked it up too quick, and somebody needs to tell him, like, look, you thought you were hearing the Lord, but maybe it was your emotions. And I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just saying, if he's humble, then he'll be willing to hear correction from some of these guys that know the word better than him, and that, like, dude, your pastor doesn't really preach the word. I'm not sure. I don't know who he is. I'm just like, somebody in his life needs to be speaking truth to him prophetically. And I'm not saying that in a charismatic sense. I'm just saying, like, speak the word clearly and directly.
Yeah.
And maybe he has that. And so that's the thing where like what you're saying. We don't know for sure.
We don't know.
I hope so.
And again,
but
it's one of those things where it's like we don't know Forrest personally. I think that's what's also so weird about like the social media culture of everything right now is like
Mm-hmm.
we almost only have assumption in some ways to work off of, and then the information that is presented to us from him. I mean, we can do. I mean, again, I'm doing as much digging as I possibly can, and every day I feel like I have 20,000 more questions about the guy or about like things around him. It's not
Mm-hmm.
from a lack of like necessarily transparency. It's just that I don't know him and
Right.
we don't know him. And we also can't see his heart. We can see fruit of potentially where his heart is positioned and his relationship with Jesus, but we don't see the growth. We don't see the things that he's feeling convicted of and struggling against, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
there's so many questions. So we can only go off of what we do know, which is that right now it seems like he is trying his best and he's probably going to make some missteps, but we just can pray for him and pray that, like you were saying, Eric, like that he's surrounded by people that will challenge him on things and be like,
Mm-hmm.
hey man, I think you were off on this, and that he will receive that. So,
Yeah.
yeah, but man, you know what I would love to do, Cliff, is I'd love to bring it back. Um, I would, I would love to
What we
bring,
do is go back.
Eric, you were going to give us a hot take. What were you going to say? You said you had a
Yeah.
hot take about this thing that Forrest was doing. Um,
Or
I think
or you had a prediction about
the
the
prediction, not a
halftime.
hot take. My bad.
Yeah.
I brought us
A
back around
prediction.
to
Could
something
be a
that
hot
didn't
take.
happen. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry.
All right.
Yeah, where are we
So-
right now? We're lost.
Okay, here we go. You guys ready for this?
Oh yeah.
I think. Okay, I'll tell you what I think, and then I'll explain why. I think 21 Pilots is going to perform at the Christian halftime show.
Oh whoa. Okay.
Wow. And so I did a deep dive on my podcast, which is new, about the meaning behind Breach, the new album.
I was
And-
watching and listening.
Okay. So I think that there's a lot of allusions in the lyrics of Breach where Tyler is confessing guilt for not being more public about his faith in Christ. Like the song Downstairs, he's like, I'm comfortable down here. I'm hiding my beliefs down here. And then he says like, I'm unholy land. Please forgive me. Have mercy, mercy, mercy.
Yeah.
And I also, they're from around here. And so I've known of them and friends of theirs, and like I've known of them for a long time. And I do know that early on in their band, Tyler was an evangelist. He was telling people about Jesus at all of his shows. And he didn't want to do it from stage because he thought that the personal conversations were better. So if I roll the lyrics of their album through this lens, if I'm correct, basically he thought that he was going to be able to make a huge gospel impact, but he got sucked into the machine. And I think Scaled and Icy is like one of the albums that where he's kind of like went along with it. I even think the song Saturday was basically written for college football. Saturday, Saturday, Saturday. It's like,
That's
really?
why it's so bad.
That's a song. That's a real song.
Yeah.
And I think he kind of like, it's terrible. That album is my least favorite. But I'm just saying
Me
he makes
too.
reference.
I love that you
Same,
said
yeah.
that. Yeah.
He makes reference to Scaled and Icy on the album, and it's even on the back of Breach. Like Scaled and Icy is apparently like this demon thing. I'm not trying to get. If you don't know the Lord, just bear with me. But anyways, I think they've made mention that they're not going to tour for a while. That they're going to be on some sort of hiatus. That's like public. But I think that he's recognized that his faith went under the surface with this pretension of like being evangelist. And I was there myself, so I understand it personally. Like, no, I just want to, love on people or whatever. But ultimately I found myself being ashamed of Jesus. And so I think that this is what he's coming out of. And there's a vast difference in his lyrics. And like, there's so much Christ honoring types of lyrics. Like he says, he like aligns with David. I want to be the man after your own heart. And I think, I'm just saying, if I'm Tyler Joseph, and if he's truly like revived in his spirit and wanting to follow Jesus like full force, and then there's this opportunity to play during halftime, this would be a very tempting opportunity for him to say, look, we could be out there and
Yeah.
identifying with Christ publicly by doing this Christian halftime show. But it would just throw such a wrench into the fan base. Like, it would be
Oh
so
yeah,
funny
It's
to
really-
watch.
for sure.
I
He would have a lot to lose. That's
I
for sure.
was
It would be
talking with
so
some
amazing.
friends maybe a month ago or something like that, and they were asking about like any like of the listening challenges that I was thinking about doing. And I said, yeah, I think I'm going to do one where I listen to only 21 Pilots. And they were like, oh, don't you only do Christian bands? And I was like, well, I don't know how to tell you this, but like that's kind of what 21 Pilots is and was for like pretty much the whole time. Like, but it shifted.
Yeah.
Because I've listened to 21 Pilots since like their 21 Pilots album came out. A friend of mine like burned me a CD of it, and I love their stuff, but it did feel like it shifted. That would be crazy to see it happen,
Yeah.
though, Eric. That would
That
be
would
wild.
be.
So their video guy is from around here. He's like 20 minutes away from my house. And he came to the studio several times when he was starting Real Bear Media. The guy's name is Mark Eshelman. And like just the rumor mill. One of the bands I worked with toured with 21 Pilots like for 2 weeks, and they were Christians. They were like, yeah, they like study the Bible, and they only have Christians on their group. And somebody told me that Mark Eshelman, I don't know if this is true or not, but that he came to Christ through their witness. And this
That's
is all
awesome.
like 10 years ago. So you notice like
So
a
that
lot
would
of
have been
really,
like right at the height of their fame, pretty much.
it would have been like, yeah, like right after Vessels or somewhere around
Yeah.
there. And then you see all these songs about doubt that started getting darker and less hopeful. And then all of a sudden, like, there's so much gospel hope in this new album. Even the way that it ends is like, I'm trying this again. So I think that Breach is actually like, he tried to enter into the music world to bring them Christ, and he failed. And he failed because he got caught up in the system. That's what I think the whole lore is about. Maybe I'm giving him too much credit for being that big of geniuses. That is possible.
I think it's totally
I don't
possible.
know.
It's one of the
Dude.
better theories I've heard, truthfully.
Maybe Tyler Joseph is actually going to be the next Keith Green of our generation.
That would be
pretty crazy.
fantastic.
Wouldn't that be a plot
A
twist?
Keith
I
Green
think
that
there?
screams and raps, that'd be pretty sick.
Dude, I think
Keith
he
Green
knows
would
the
probably
Bible
love it.
super well too. And I do have
Oh,
a
yeah.
friend who was close with him for years. So like some of this is like, I don't know how true anything is unless I heard it for myself, but even just with his lyrics, like the way he talks about his flesh on that first album and the one flesh out the door SWAT. There's just
Yeah.
normal Christians don't understand flesh, sarx, like there's a deep study there that means like you're fighting your inner desires that are not you anymore. Like there's just such a deep theology to that. So I'm like, this dude knows the Bible well. So
Yeah, I mean, there was this song or this video that was going around, was kind of making the rounds on the internet of this project that Tyler Joseph did years ago with one of the pastors at the church he was at, where I forget what it's called, but it's
Was it
not on
Osborne?
Spotify. I think so.
Okay.
But this song is not on Spotify, but someone somehow
worship
had
song.
this song and made an animated video to it. You could probably find it on YouTube, but the video is very new, but the song is like 10 to 15 years old. But
you'll
Tyler
put the
Joseph
link in
has
the
this
notes,
whole
right?
yeah, sure.
AKA
There'll
our
be a
group
link
text?
right down
Yeah.
below.
I'm just
So
kidding. I just
weird-
want it. Text it to me when you find
Weird
it.
thing.
Yeah, for
The
sure.
church that he did that with is a church plant of one that's like 25 minutes from me. And I remember
Oh.
seeing that and being like, what? Like, what is
Where
going on
are
here?
you? Where are you, Jonathan?
I'm in Providence, North Carolina. So just right on the state line of Virginia. Just
Nice.
barely not Virginia. So,
And then Eric just ghosts you.
yeah. Yeah,
Just like
he's
John Mark
Just pulls
McMillan.
a John Mark. You're from North Carolina, right?
I refuse to talk.
Yeah.
Until
Oh,
the Lord tells me
no.
what to say.
Not another one. I got to stop telling people where I'm from. That people stopped listening to
that.
this whole thing because I just said that. Probably.
I bet you John Mark McMillan was just waiting for the Spirit.
I do like you bringing us back right there.
Yeah, I love it. Wow, what a full circle thing.
That's going to be the name of this episode, like
Bring it back.
bringing us back or something
Yeah.
like
Back.
that.
Yeah.
Probably not. That's not very clickbait.
So, Jonathan, I hope you're wrong about all those stories about the speech. Just so you know.
Or even if he's wrong, hopefully that Forrest, grows from that.
There's always people have moments, right? Like
I know.
Yeah.
I will say I talked to 5 different students that did not know each other, and they all gave me the same story, which
It's
is
like
a
when
really
you-
big problem.
It's like when you meet somebody who's a Christian and you're like, "Oh, praise God. Well, what's your church like?" And they're like, "Yeah, my pastor doesn't even need to prepare for preaching." And you're like, "Oh."
Yeah. He just shows up and yells at us. You're like,
just shows up
That's
and
why I'm
follows the
thinking.
Spirit.
yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. That must be the culture that he was
I
brought
think
up
it
in
seems to
his
be.
church, and he just doesn't know any better.
And I'll just say this very quickly, I guess. I think that culture runs pretty deep within him, and it might be one of the things that will make accountability potentially difficult, because I feel that many times what I've read or that I've seen where he's maybe made a knee-jerk decision or maybe done something, he positions it in this way that's like, God told me to do this, or like God said this to me and now I'm saying this. And it's not that God can't obviously like impress upon a person, but it does make it, I think, hard sometimes for people to feel like they can tell you, hey, I think you're off, because they feel like maybe they're like going against God instead of like a statement that Forrest has made. And so
Right.
I think that positioning kind of runs deep within that hyper charismatic feel at times. And so I'm not saying all the time, but it might make it potentially hard for someone to approach him. But
Well,
I don't know
that
that.
when-
I don't know him.
I do that when I want to go to a certain restaurant with my wife. It works great. I'm like, God told us to
Yeah.
go to White Castle.
That's how Clifford
And
got
she's
us
like,
on this
okay.
podcast.
I felt led. I felt led by the
he
Lord.
texted us and said, God told me to tell y'all you were going to be on my podcast. And we were like,
I didn't
"What?"
even
God
want to
told me
talk to you
that
guys
you-
anymore.
Yeah.
He just told me.
Yeah.
He's like, you
I love
need
it.
Jonathan and Eric in your life.
I love it when God tells other people things he could have told me directly. It's like,
I mean, it's cool. It's like, he's like cutting in the middleman. I like it.
yeah, I like it. He's getting a little bit of a mix going on. No, that again is like just something I'm doing a little bit of digging on, even like
Well, now I know what to pray for.
yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. Like
true.
it's like I worry maybe that like accountability would be difficult if you were to look at a person and say, hey, I don't think God told you to do that. It's very confronting,
I mean,
If-
I've
if you're not
done that
used to
plenty
it.
of times, and it doesn't usually go well. Like,
Really?
was that the Holy Spirit, or was that your emotions?
Yeah.
And it's usually
yeah.
a fight.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
We're working on it. We're working towards a fight, Eric. We'll see. Not this time though.
The
Not
Lord
this time.
spared us.
He did.
So
All
far.
because Clifford forced us into this by saying that
It's
God told him to.
it's his
Yeah,
providence.
this is
Okay.
accountability
Yeah.
right here.
Exactly where I live. Yeah. My address is no.
All right. Well, I think we've covered a lot of the bases. I think we've solved all the problems of CCM. But actually, before we close, I don't know if you guys, Jonathan or Eric, want to take turns. If you had any like closing thoughts about like where you think CCM is now and like what you think the future will be or what you hope it will be. I don't know. Jonathan, you go first.
Yeah, I think I'm encouraged in many ways. Like, I think, not to make it all about Forrest Frank, but I think guys like Forrest Frank are very important, whether we want them to be or not. I think I even texted that to you guys. Like, I feel that the conversation, even the fact that we're talking about this and that everybody's talking about this and talking about these players that are in the game right now, it's very important. And I'm encouraged because it means that we're forced to actually talk about the repercussions of the industry. We're forced to talk about how we approach money, how we approach the morality of systems, and how God fits into the creative zone and all of this stuff. Like, we're having to talk about it because it's everywhere and it's
Mm-hmm.
very polarized. I am saddened because we've had to witness the death of a lot of things that we maybe would have thought were great at one point. Pastors or musicians, watching like the moral decay and death of those things that we were like, this is the best, and then we find out, we were lied to through this
Mm-hmm.
whole thing. So it is easy to feel very discouraged depending on the day and how much you take in. So um I guess my final thought is, my relationship with Jesus isn't dependent on how good other people do.
Mm-hmm.
My relationship with Jesus is dependent on the fact that I've placed my faith and trust in him, and that I have a relationship with him. And that is something that cannot be taken away by like the poor actions of a pastor or a celebrity. It's only something that can be affected by how I walk with Jesus and my
Right.
direct actions. So I would say for like any believers, like, hey, like, it's okay to be discouraged. It's okay to be really excited. But like, the very main priority has to be your walk with Jesus, because you will collapse and be discouraged all the time if you do not have that in check. So that's
Right.
where I land with it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah,
That's a
man,
good
that's
place to
great.
land, I think.
That's
What about
great.
you,
Super
Eric?
encouraging. Yeah. Virtually everyone I know who knows the Lord is growing in their faith. Our church is growing. People are becoming more bold. My son, like, this blows my mind. It has, I mean, yes, God used me to disciple him. He's not, my oldest son is 19. I have 4 kids. I found out like 6 months ago that him and his friends, I'm like, what are you guys doing? What'd you do tonight? And he's like, we had a Bible study. Who taught it?
That's awesome. That's
Me.
sick.
They're going to the
Nice.
park like every week, and then just inviting people randomly at the park. Hey, we're going to study the Bible. Do you want to come study?
Hmm.
And people are
Wow.
joining them. People that just walk past. And my
Wow.
son and his friends are like, "Oh, what'd you do tonight?" It's like, "Oh, we went down and preached the gospel downtown." I'm like, "Really?"
Oh, dude, that's
He's like,
amazing.
"Watch my boys are watching Ray Comfort videos." And I'm telling you,
Nice.
this is happening not just
Based.
in my home. There's stuff like this happening all over the place. Everybody I talk to, like like I said, I just talked to what's his name? Jonathan. Not Jonathan. Stephen. I just talked to Stephen earlier, and he's just zealous for
Right.
Christ. I'm
Oh
meeting
yeah.
people like this all over the place. I think that dusty Bibles wouldn't have gotten through the Christian machine 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Mm-hmm.
like Josiah Queen, like, I can actually approve of Christian music for my kids now. I
Yeah.
literally would
Mm-hmm.
not let my kids listen to CCM like 5 years ago, because it was
Mm-hmm.
there was so much Bethel stuff. There was so much just like health and wealth, prosperity gospel stuff where I was like, look, kids, I'm sorry, but that's just not good for you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And now there's a handful of these artists, and it's almost like the thing that we've seen in Christian hip hop over the years where there's like solid theology. It's like some of that is starting to sneak into CCM, and it's encouraging.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that whatever you want to call it, the Lord is doing a big work across the board. And I think nothing's going to stop. I mean, we already know, like you said, Jonathan, like nothing, we're more than conquerors. Nothing can separate us from the love of God in Christ Jesus. And if 3, 4, or 5 years from now, people hate Jesus as much as they did 5 years ago, I'm going to be completely content in Christ. It'll be disappointing. There's going to be disappointments, but we trust
Sure.
him. We trust him. The gates of hell will not prevail against the church. So I'm just super excited. And, with my music, with the music that both of you guys do, um, we just want to be honest, and we just want to
Yeah.
do our best stuff and see, and then once we're done with it, we're like, oh, someone might like this. And
Mm-hmm.
that's how the best, that's how the best stuff happens. And I want more. And I think we're going to get more honest music going forward.
Mm-hmm.
And it's encouraging. I think it's going to affect the whole music culture. I think is changing. I think people are starting to get more honest, and
Yeah.
it's a breath of fresh air.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what is a breath of fresh air is you two guys for sure.
Aww. And actual hair.
Yeah,
That's true.
that's true. Yeah. But not being technical here.
I'm more of like a carbon dioxide kind of guy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, as your brother in Christ, I would like to discourage you from
no.
from
I'm
that
not saying I'm
lifestyle.
going to. No, I'm not.
What about
This is where
tobacco
accountability starts.
It was a joke. Tobacco smoke. I'll secondhand smoke it. I'll be around people smoking. How about that?
This conversation has been
Well,
like a breath of
happened?
fresh smoke.
Been a breath of fresh
nicotine.
jewel,
Oh
All
yeah,
right.
that's what
Cut
you say
this
today.
all out,
That's what the
by
kids
the way.
say.
Yeah, cut it all out. Cut it.
Don't smoke unless you're C.S. Lewis. You're allowed to smoke a pipe. You're C.S. Lewis. Well,
Are you
anyways,
saying they're
it's been.
smoking in heaven? All right. I'm done.
I mean, if there was, it won't hurt you.
I almost made a joke. I almost said there's not smoke in heaven, but there is in another place. But that's a completely different problem.
Oh,
I can't.
Got him.
That sounds like an independent fundamental guy was probably like, they don't.
I think we
I bet
had-
there's no
I-
smoking in heaven. It's only in hell.
I think we had too much fun on this podcast, which means
We did.
hopefully people.
It was
other
great.
People like it, but I had fun.
like I said, I knew I wanted both of you guys back on, and I just thought this was the perfect opportunity to just have all three of us together.
Just hanging
and
out.
I knew, just hanging out.
Hanging
Just-
out
just
while
the
I watch
boys hanging
John
out.
Rubin in the background of your
Heck
video.
yeah.
John zapping. There
The
he
best
is.
way. What is he dippity doing?
Uh,
So before we go, just want you guys to have a chance to plug yourself. Jonathan, you've got your music and your YouTube. So where do people find both of those?
they search my name, Jonathan Allen Wright, and again, look, it's out there. I don't know. I'm gonna be making music and videos pretty much no matter what happens, I guess.
Right. Same here.
But I'm working on like that, kind of a Forrest Frank deep dive.
Yeah.
Because
When do
truthfully,
you think it'll be done?
dude, right? Just truthfully, I read the first page and a half, and it was 9 minutes long, and I have 11 pages typed as of right now. So
Dude, I cannot wait to see this.
Nice.
I think it might be potentially an hour plus long, and I am planning to shoot it on a cinema camera and just like go full send with it. So I'm hoping it'll be done by December. So we'll see.
Awesome.
We'll see.
I'm excited. All right, so Eric, Mr. Sower, you've got your music. You've got your most recent. Well, you came out with an album and an EP this past year, but your most recent EP, Contemporary Christian Machine, which is very relevant to what we're talking about. And then you've also got a podcast started. So where do people go and find your stuff?
Everything is at sowerproject.com. That's how you find all of it.
Nice.
So
Simple enough.
Very
You bought the
simple.
domain and everything.
I bought the
I did.
domain, and here's another domain to plug: biblicalindyrock.com. So I'm working
Okay.
on a little collective of some similar,
Whoa.
like-minded artists. So maybe we have an offline conversation. But
Hey.
Dude, heck yeah.
check both of those out. And yeah, I mean, I will say, I haven't mentioned it too much, but I'm collaborating. I just put out Psalm 6 with Out of the Graves, another
Mm-hmm.
artist. And
was
we've
great.
got 7 coming out next month, and basically by January the whole EP. So it'll be Psalms 6 through 10. And then
Wow.
working on a full length for the spring. I'm super excited about. So
Nice.
that's why I have this
You're a working
studio.
man.
And it's like, if I don't have a band in, then I'm just like very creative.
You're like, I'm gonna get stuff done. I want to. I said it in a review. I was like, I really feel like your CCM EP is like some of the best work I've heard in a while. Just and lyrically especially, like it is. I really appreciated a lot of what you were saying on it. I appreciated like the style and just how it was assembled. And
Yeah.
so I wanted to say that to your face. I was like, I really truly think it's like just a great solid track list. Like it's so
Oh
good.
yeah.
So
Thank you, man.
Absolutely.
Coming soon to K Love.
yeah.
I
We'll
mean,
make some
hey, that would be
calls.
awesome,
We'll make some
actually.
calls. You know.
I would be okay with that.
Yeah.
Scare some soccer moms.
I'll have to get a
That'd be great.
radio. No.
Oh well. Or what are they? Is Sirius FM still a thing?
It is. At least my father-in-law would be devastated if it wasn't. So
So
all right.
well, he's keeping them alive, I guess.
Higher and set me on fire. Sing it out, sing out loud. Ooh, take me higher so I can fly. If you believe it, you can touch the sky. Oh, if you can see it, you can touch the sky.
All right, everybody. I guess I failed to mention when I introduced the episode that yes, I got a haircut after that conversation. So yeah, this was recorded much later, if you can't tell. Which part was recorded first? So yeah, thank you so much to Jonathan and Eric. They've become such a encouragement to me. We've started we basically have our own group chat now, where we talk about candy corn. Don't ask. Super awesome guys, and I'm glad that we made this connection. And I hope that you guys found the conversation beneficial. I knew that they would, because obviously Eric has a lot to say about the Christian music industry, and I know that Jonathan has been paying attention to these kind of things. He's got the whole Forrest Frank documentary, which that's what I'll say. So if you haven't subscribed to Jonathan Allen Wright, please do so. He makes awesome content. I'd say he makes the best content, like YouTube content, when it comes to related to Christian music and such. He's his editing and video making is just really fun. So please go check him out, and especially keep an eye out for that Forrest Frank documentary, as I will be looking out for it myself. I'm so stoked. So please check him out, but also check out I want to get it right. Sower, is it just Sower Project, I think? Sower Project on YouTube, because don't just yes, please go check out Sower's music. At Sower Project. That would probably be the best way to find him on YouTube. Don't click on any video by the Sowers. They are a fake AI Christian band, and they suck. I'm sorry, they're not real. So please don't. I hope it's not going to be any issue for Eric, because I searched Sower band on YouTube, and some of his stuff came up, but a lot of it was the AI crap. So but check out Eric's music. But also, Eric has started doing his, I can't remember if you mentioned it in the conversation, but he started his own podcast, basically the Sower Project podcast. And so that's there on his YouTube channel. I would recommend it. He had a conversation with Rich Mullins, one of Rich Mullins' friends, but also he mentioned it when he was talking about the Super Bowl and 21 Pilots. Because I watched it, I finally got around to watching it after our conversation, but his his video on 21 Pilots Breach is actually really good, and because it helped make me appreciate the album Breach even more. So, because he did a deeper dive on the lyrics and such. But so yeah, go support both of them on YouTube and their music. Jonathan Allen Wright's music as well. I guess it was just a match made in heaven for us all to get together and talk about these things. Now, since Eric's doing his own content, we're all basically musicians who also do podcast / YouTube channels. So, I don't know. I mean, maybe that's just the world we live in. So, yeah, very awesome to have him on, and I definitely want to do something like that again. But, yeah, that's basically all I got. Like I said, I'm sorry, guys. I don't have a humble opinion today other than the ones I've already shared. But please go check out. I'm just telling you guys to go listen and watch things that aren't me. Go check out Fepeste's new album, This World Ain't Mine to Change, and that or no, it's just, I was gonna say the whole song, This World Ain't Mine to Change, and Tyson Motzenbacher's Modern Worries. They're both great albums, and if I can, I'll talk about them more in the next episode. Which, speaking of the next episode, I don't know what we're going to be talking about, so I don't have a teaser for you guys, but rest assured it's going to be something awesome. So that's all I got. Leave a like, comment, and survive. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't, and keep a lookout for that special video that's coming out this week. It should be coming out this week. So anyways, I love you guys, and happy November. I'll see you guys in the next episode.
Hey, this is Zane Vickery. If you like this video, be sure to leave a like. It takes just a second. I'm going off script. But also feel free to subscribe to I'm Clifford Today. For those of you listening on Apple Podcasts, be sure to leave a rating. Be sure to leave a review. It helps his creative endeavor. Also, be sure to check Clifford's clips and his highlight channel, I'm Clifford Today. If you want to hear more from Clifford, check out his other podcasts, Podwood Forecasts. And there's always t-shirts, and there's other more merch you can buy. Support your artists, so be sure, take a look at that. There are links to everything in the episode description. And thanks for stopping by. And remember, please, God, remember, he's Clifford Today. And you're not.